All right. Welcome all you wrestling fans to the third episode of the Pop-Up Powerbomb podcast. I'm your host, the Breathtaking One himself, Spooky. And this evening, wrestling fans, we discuss and share our thoughts on three, yes, you heard that right, three wrestling pay-per-views coming up this weekend, starting with WWE Night of Champions and culminating with NXT Battleground and AEW Double or Nothing. We also discuss AEW's new Saturday night show and their upcoming video game, which now has a release date, as well as much, much more. So grab those snacks and beverages, kick up those feet, and now we just have one question for y'all. Are you ready? All right. Lovely to see my girl in the chat already. What's up, Trin? And of course, little Pharrell. And we got a few lurkers lurking about. It's great to see. Share this out, of course, and hit that like button. It's always a great help. All right. Let's get straight into the panel. What's up, Paul? We'll start with you first, bro.
No, I'm just noticing that every time he starts, it's all right. That's like his nervous tick. All right. It's like now I'm going to notice it every time he starts talking. Every time I'm going to notice when he does it.
Who does that?
Who does? All right. That's you. Every time. You've said it like 4 times since you started.
All right, brother.
Now, unless you're trying to be like Matthew McConaughey, in which case it's all right.
Yeah. And he's one of my favorite actors too. I love it when he says that too. All right. So how you been, brother?
I'm surviving.
Watching Raw, as we know.
Yep. Didn't play much this weekend or last week. I just haven't been in the playing mood. Watching a lot of TV, though.
Watching a lot of TV? Why not? It's there to be watched. And, of course, the panel member here, Josh. How are you, sir?
Yo, what's up, brothers? I am doing good. Got the game on right here to see. We are going to see if the Lakers can survive being swept. So, here for that. In terms of gaming, man, played a little bit of Street Fighter beta. I'll be on that in come June.
Nice.
And right back on Tears of the Kingdom. So as I'm currently still stuck on this puzzle, so I'm trying to figure this out.
Oh, the beauty of that game and the puzzles that come with it. All right, guys. All right. Let's get into the topics. All right. So we've got a few quick ones to start it off. So, New Japan held their Resurgence pay-per-view just the other day. A lot of great matches up and down the card, but the big news coming out of it, of course, is Mercedes Moné appeared to suffer a serious injury at the pay-per-view. Therefore, they had to change course. She was actually set to become the first New Japan Strong Women's Champion. But they had to go with on the fly with AEW's Willow Nightingale, who ended up winning the championship and getting that great accolade. What happened, and I was watching the pay-per-view, is Mercedes was up on the top rope, and they were looking to suplex, and she took a tumble backwards. Outside the ring, and it's been reported that she completely broke and shattered her ankle. Yeah. They rushed out, and she tried, I guess, she tried to land the best she could, but a lot of weight came down on her right leg, and then she had to be carried to the back by staff after the title match. In fact, the match, it was meant to go a bit longer, but it ended literally a minute after she suffered the injury, with Willow Nightingale landing 2 power bombs, obviously, to get the win. And so it was.
Wait, even with her broken ankles, she went under 2 power bombs.
Yeah,
Ow.
She took some spots. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a strong girl. So, she did what she had to do, and they obviously, would have sent a message out to the ref. Usually refs got earpieces in to listen to the back. They would have had to change, as I said, they had to change the whole outcome of that match because she was set to win it. But in saying that, this is a big moment for Willow. It really is. She's an up-and-coming female superstar in AEW. She's been pushed mainly on the Ring of Honor brand a lot lately over the last few months. In fact, I think she had a couple of shots at the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, unsuccessful. So this is big for her career, I believe, and especially to have that accolade now of being the first New Japan Strong Women's Champion. She's only still a young star in the making as well, but that's fantastic again, and this also helps as well. Leading up to after Double or Nothing to their Forbidden Door pay-per-view that they'll be doing with New Japan. The only thing that sucks now is Mercedes Moné, who was scheduled to be at that pay-per-view, is likely going to miss it. So I'll come across to you first, Josh. What was your thoughts first on Mercedes' injury and just the way it sort of went down? And how'd you feel about who they went with in the end of it, and when they had to obviously change the outcome of the match?
It's first though, it sucks. It obviously sucks because Mercedes was just on a hot run since she left WWE. She joined New Japan. Yep. She was just on this amazing run, arguably in contention for Female Wrestler of the Year. Right. Sad to see it come so short from the nasty ankle injury. So we all prayers up for her. Hope she can make a speedy recovery. It's just sad to see because quick sidebar is that Dakota Kai and Liv Morgan have just been announced they're out for a couple months as well with serious injuries. Yes. So it seems like the females are getting the injury bug. But as for Willow, all congratulations to her and flowers to her. Yeah, she's been busting her ass for like a while now. So
yes.
From like AEW Dark and Elevation to Ring of Honor to Dynamite, I think she really popped off with that street fight with Ruby Soho when she was tag team with her against what was it? The girls from the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Taya and Jungle Boy's girlfriend.
Is it Anna Jay?
Anna Jay, yeah, Anna Jay.
Anna Jay, thank you. So she's been really putting in the work. She's been busting her ass. You couldn't really go on with a wrong decision here. Obviously, if Mercedes didn't get hurt, she most likely would have been, the strong champion. She would have put eyes on that belt because she's the former women's champion. She's a successful WWE superstar. But Willow is definitely going to make that title. I'm interested who she's going to face up, but. As for Mercedes, again, man, we was all excited for her for being at Forbidden Door. There was a lot of rumors going around that she might be at the new AEW show or even Dynamite, but right now, those are got put on hold. So she probably won't be back. I'll take a guess. What are we in? May? She probably won't be back probably till October, maybe September, depending on that healing process.
Yeah, about that. Especially if the whole ankle is shattered, that's going to take a bit. Hey, what's good, brother? Mr. Too Soon, he's in the chat. Dion, welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Good to see you, man. So that's it's unfortunate. It really is. Like you said, she was on a hell of a run since she's left WWE. She's really enjoying her time in New Japan. Mm-hmm. As I said, she's extended her time over there. They probably might even, I don't know if they do the whole adding time, but if not, she'll probably add more time on to it now that she's out for a bit.
I think they do. I think they do. Because they definitely don't want some of those superstars walking away because of injury.
No,
I don't.
As
much as people like to think that companies don't do that. They're smart. I'm like, hold up, bro. I'm not letting you walk away for nothing. You're gonna give me this time back.
Exactly.
So
I don't think she'll mind that because, as I said, she's flourishing over there. And I know WWE fans would love to see her back there, but I don't think she will be. If she ever goes back, it's not going to be for a while. I know that because she's really thriving away from WWE. And it's been great to see. And like you said, she didn't get injured. It was already known that they were going to give her the belt and be the first to win it. But Willow, is a great fallback option. And that's probably the only thing that I will say sucks a little bit for Willow is that she was a fallback option. But at the end of the day, again, this is only going to help her career. I think it's about time that a title got, like you said, she has busted her ass from AEW Dark and Elevation to the main roster over to basically one of the leaders of the Ring of Honor women's division. I mean, it's about damn time, I say. I thought that she deserved the second time around. I thought they were going to go with her to win the women's championship in Ring of Honor, but hopefully that's to come. And this is obviously going to just elevate her status now. And I expect big things too, especially at Forbidden Door with this, because obviously she's going to be defending the title. So, no, it's wonderful for her. Wonderful for her, and prayers and thoughts sent out to Mercedes. Hopefully she heals up quickly and gets back to doing what she loves. But how about you, Paul? I know you're not the biggest follower of New Japan, but
yeah, just because I don't have access to most of this stuff. But I will.
I'm about to say barely anybody does.
Got to know where to look.
But as far as like her injury and stuff, even once she's settled, she can still come back and do promos and even do some side ring stuff and be active in the brands, so she doesn't totally disappear for the next 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it's going to end up being, because because we know from watching other wrestling, they've used real injuries to set up greater storylines, to feed into those and say, to give them a real drive to come back. So hopefully she doesn't just disappear for a couple of months and then come back, because then it's hard to legitimately give her the title if she's been, if she's been invisible for 3 to 6 months or whatever it's going to end up being, Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. You're not wrong there. And as I said, hopefully, I think she'll still at least take a good 6 weeks before you see her sort of at least back up and doing promos and stuff like that. She's obviously not going to be wrestling after 6 weeks, but you could probably get her in a moon boot and stuff like that, and she could do some promo.
Get her in a moon boot. You could even get her in the ring. She could take a fall. I'm not saying she would, but
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, she could take a little bump, I suppose. But you wouldn't.
To help,
you'd have to be
to help set up because giving her title to somebody else is actually, for me, it's a perfect setup. That once she's healthy enough to come back and go, you didn't earn that. If I was healthy, I would have kicked your butt. Type of.
Yeah, and I mean, she can she can get over both ways, and I think I think if I'm not mistaken, she was still playing a heel since she
she was definitely heel in this story. Yeah. She's been heel since she went over to New Japan, honestly.
Yeah, she has. Yeah, she did. When she initially came out to the babyface reaction, and then obviously she turned on Kairi, so before beating her for the title. But again, as I said, prayers out to her, Mercedes, to heal up.
I was in WWE earlier there, Dion. I will catch up with. If I wanted to catch up with you on Days Played, I could. But I'm just saying, some of the ladders and stuff, they said they are way too dependent on those stupid ladder matches. Yeah. Those 2-on-1 ladder matches and crap like that. Man, that game is way too dependent on that crap.
But moving right along.
Sorry, I saw it in chat.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good, brother. So, rumor going around right now, doing the rounds, at some point this year, both Bianca Belair and the Street Profits will be turned heel. So yes, they're all set to go to the dark side of the Force, as I like to say. I actually think this is a long time coming. For Street Profits, I think it's going to be great because it's just going to freshen their act. I think they've got I love them to death, but I think they've gotten a little bit stale, and they just need something to freshen them up. Bianca played an amazing heel in NXT.
I was going to say she would make a great heel. I've never seen her do it, but I could see she would be.
She was
I would agree too, because the thing about, especially like the Street Profits now too, I'll start with them, is that Montez is the biggest star of the Street Profits, so he can sell being the heel. I would like to see, and he's such a great talker on the mic. As for Bianca, I know they asked her, like, I think in many interviews before that, would you prefer to go heel or anything like stuff like that? But she said she wasn't sure, only because and not that she can't do it. Obviously, we know about the NXT heel run. That was amazing. But the only thing about that, she probably didn't want to do it only because she's been such a huge face lately, and that she's had such a huge impact on young girls, is that she doesn't know if she wants to ruin that or not.
Right.
That's the only thing.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting because you've got Asuka as a heel. It's not like they're going to turn her. I mean, they've done it before, I suppose, but then you'll have her and Asuka as the top two heels, which means if they're going with this, then Charlotte's going to stay babyface. That's for damn, because you're not going to have Charlotte, Bianca, and Asuka on the same brand as all heels. So Charlotte will stay babyface. Which sucks because her best work is as a heel.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that. It just feels like Charlotte might just go heel as well.
Charlotte, if okay, put it this way, if when she comes back, if she goes heel, then they've got to turn Asuka back face. There's no, or at least tween, at least something in between, because you don't want to have too many. Otherwise, it's going to become a bit lopsided. And you're not going to have enough sort of bigger names with the females on SmackDown as baby faces. But no, I think it'll be good. Again, it's I don't think Bianca's got stale, but again, a turn will just keep her momentum going, I think, and just freshens it up a little bit there for her. I'll go back to the Street Profits, they're in desperate need of it, from the microphone and really putting it on, like you said. Tez will be fantastic. Big man, he could just be an aggressive, just stare at you, stare right through you kind of guy. I mean, it'll just
and don't doubt Dawkins too. Dawkins could go in the ring. Dawkins like really good in the ring.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was even talk before this came out that they were going to split them up, and Tez was going to be the big baby face, and Hawkins was going to be the was the big heel, would be the big heel, obviously. But I'm glad they're going to keep them together, because I think at the moment they've still got a little bit more to prove and that as a tag team before you go splitting them. And the problem that I have with splitting them is we all know Tez will be fine. I think he's got star written all over him as a single star. I worry about Dawkins though, as a singles guy. He's just going to fall into the mid to lower mid card. That's kind of obvious. In fact, he'll probably once they split him up, it'll just be a matter of ticking time before he gets future endeavored, and that's the unfortunate thing, because they've got so much.
It's funny how many tag teams that happens to.
Yeah,
there's one really strong member, and then there's one that kind of gets carried.
Yeah,
and when he's part of the team, he's great. And then when they separate, look at. It happened with the British Bulldogs. It happened with the Hart Foundation.
In this case,
yes, I'm going way back in the old days. I know that for you young people, but
it's.
I mean, I think it's one of those common themes with wrestling. You could say is that eventually, sometimes the great tag teams do end up splitting them up. The question now, can they succeed singly is the story. I mean, the Briscoes broke up for a little bit during the Ring of Honor days, and they were very successful. Successful single champion. I mean, Jay went on, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. He went on to be the world champion.
Yeah.
Mark went on to be the television champion.
The thing that helped them too, and I'm glad you brought them up, both of them can talk on a microphone.
Really, really
well. I'm not saying Dawkins.
Jay is hilarious on the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
Jay is
yeah.
Jay is hilarious.
I'm not saying Dawkins can't talk on a mic, but he's nowhere near the standard of Tez. Not even close. And that's he's got great in ring skill, and he's just okay on a microphone. That's how I also feel, and no one can tell me differently because this is one of my guys, mind you. I'm about to put down slightly here, but Kenny Omega, while he's phenomenal in the ring, he's only okay on that microphone.
That's terrible.
And that's because he comes from New Japan, where again they're more about storytelling in the ring. They're not about storytelling on a microphone. So I mean they'll talk on a microphone, but nowhere near as much as you'll see on WWE or Impact Wrestling and stuff like that. Because it's more. They're more serious about the wrestling side of things over there. So
that's why also Kenny Omega had Don Callis for so long. Is that
yes.
He could Don will help him with the talking, and Don will go over the promo stuff.
I was about to point out a lot of the ones that are not that good on mics. Those are the ones with managers.
Yeah, he's got don't get me wrong. Kenny's got good catchphrases and stuff like that, but he's just okay on a microphone. Like you. He couldn't compete with the Jericho or CM Punk on the microphone. He does all right against someone like a Moxley or someone like that, but he just wouldn't compete with your top tier guys, that were basically born with a microphone in their hand. And that's just a slight little knock on Kenny. I'll give him something. He is improving. I think obviously pitting him with someone like a Don Callis, which is, Don's as good as Paul Heyman, in my eyes, benefits. Like if you're willing to not just they're just my mouthpiece. If you're actually willing to sort of watch them and let them coach you and that, and Don worked really closely with him. So his promo skills are getting better. He knows they've got to get better. So, and he's willing to improve that because AEW being an American product, it just works better in the American product than it does back in Japan. You can get away with being a, AJ Styles caliber wrestler over there and be an absolute mute on the microphone, and they'll love you. Right. It's just totally different sort of styles and the way they do things. But no, this will be good. How about you? Obviously, me and Josh got our thoughts on it. How about you, Paul? Are you looking forward to seeing both the tag team and Belair turn heel?
Yeah, especially since I didn't see it in her earlier days. I would love to watch Belair be bad. Yeah, that would be just to me. I think that would be, having not witnessed it. I'm telling you, for me, it would be a fun thing to watch. I think.
Yeah.
If
She can play that cocky heel really well. I'll tell you that. She can play it very, very well. Like my shit don't stink kind of thing. I'm better than you.
Right.
So it really works, and she really knows how.
She kind of sells that even as a face.
Yeah, basically.
So it's not that much of a turn in some ways. It's just more attitude. She's got the attitude already.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm interested in is, will they slightly change the gimmick of the Street Profits when they turn them heel? Because they're going to have to, I think, a little bit.
I not exactly. You might not hear "We Want the Smoke" as much as we used to hear it, but I don't think you change them because the way that Montez is as of right now, he still has we just talked about.
I think
Bianca, he has that cockiness in him. Like, I'm better.
I think they get rid of the red
shit.
I think they get rid of the red cups falling in their entrance.
Yeah, that would go. That would go. I would definitely.
I think they become.
But everything else, I think, will stay like
cocky
in terms of,
and maybe.
I think cocky and overdrive. They're already cocky, but now you're thrown into overdrive. If you're going to be a heel in wrestling, the cocky
I'd like to
needs
see
to
him get a
step it
little
up to
bit
like
more.
11.
Go a little bit more. I know I know I'm sort of thinking of Crime Time here, but go a little bit more aggressive gangster with their gimmick a little bit.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it still kind of plays into their gimmick. They wouldn't have to change all that much, but like a bit more aggressive gangster style to it to work with the heel, because I don't want them, that's the thing with heel. I'd love to see a more aggressive heel, especially in WWE. And you don't see that too often. You always see the cocky but scared heel, that's always constantly running away. And I'd love to see a little bit more aggressiveness, outside of Brock Lesnar, really. is the only real aggressive, sort of heel. But yeah.
I think you might get that in Carmelo Hayes. I think Carmelo Hayes will be that guy.
Yeah, yeah. And I was a bit worried when they turned him face. I really was. But he's getting over with Trick. Which is good. So he can play both roles really well. I loved him as a heel though. His heel works fantastic. But maybe even like by that time, hopefully, if he's dropped the title by the time they decide to go with turning these guys here, you could bring him up and team him with the Street Profits, which would him and you'd probably still leave Trick down there because he probably needs time, but Carmelo with the Street Profits as heels, like that would be a cool little three-man team there,
Yeah, that would be a little nice faction right there.
Oh yeah. But all right, moving obviously right along. Another little juicy topic, and this is sort of split into two. So we'll start with the first half first. AEW announced a new Saturday show called Collision. All right. Now, I'm just gonna, before I hand it over to the boys to give their thoughts on this, I'm just gonna read a couple of things here. One's from Wrestle Talk, and one's from Wrestling Inc. So at the moment, the report coming out, they might have to change to Daly's pace from the United Center because a couple of caveats, they don't know what's going on with CM Punk.
I was just about to say it. I was about to make a joke, but go ahead.
He is not happy that Ace, with the whole Ace Steel situation. He was meant to be the face of this. They had him on the branding and on the poster. They took him out last minute. And Tony's now looking to change venues possibly because he said you don't want to have it at the United Center if he's not going to be there because all the Chicago fans are going to be expecting him there, and if he doesn't turn up, it's going to be a letdown. So that's why he's looking for contingency plans. Obviously, due to this news, and it is news that keeps circulating, obviously wrestling fans everywhere know about it. Really, really bad ticket sales for the debut episode so far. Ticket sales for the new show have been described as really, really extremely bad following the announcement of the brand.
Nobody could see that when you're building the show off the back of a dude that everybody expects to be there.
I know, right?
That's a shock, right?
Yeah. And it's like, God, come on now, cut the obvious. But no, Meltzer was the one who reported that he said ticket sale figures are not a good sign for the new brand. And not having Punk as the face of it is not really helping it. That was meant to get it over. He went on to say, I'll tell you what, they don't have a big buzz for Collision because they put 3 shows on sale. They put Toronto on sale, they put Hamilton on sale, and they put Newark on sale. Newark has...
Is Collision... Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off, Spook. Is Collision the same week of Forbidden Door?
Yes. Yes. I think
that's bad marketing.
Okay, so Newark has about 3,500 tickets out, which is, you definitely want more. I wouldn't call it a disaster or anything, but for New York market, obviously it'd be the weakest first day since they've been going there. Toronto was like 1,600, and that's the day before the pay-per-view Forbidden Door. That sold out instantly, and Toronto is a great market, obviously, for them. And he's heard from some people in Toronto that the publicity of it, the fact that nobody knew till Wednesday, and then it kind of sprung up on them as far as the thing and everything, but all that's not good. And the whole point with it is, with Punk, they reportedly rehired Steele months ago, but it was decided that he won't be allowed to actually attend AEW shows in person, right? He has to work remotely. And Punk wants Steele to be able to be backstage at Collision tapings. and both of them were reportedly under the impression that would be happening. Hence the falling out again. Just as they were almost reeling Punk back in, the fallouts happened again. And of course, he's very loyal to his friends and that, still being not only a trainer that trained him, but they've been best friends for quite some time. So that's why he's been removed from the posters and everything, because they have no idea. So I don't blame Tony for coming up with a contingency plan to go into Florida and go into Daly's place. And then, of course, the logo was shown. And good old Eric Bischoff.
Before you go there, I want to say I'm reading an article right now that says apparently some legal paperwork was sent to Punk this weekend.
Yeah, but whether or
AEW
not
has stepped up their thing. Yeah.
The thing is whether or not.
Go ahead, Spook. Go ahead. I got something to say about this.
Yeah, whether or not he signs it is another thing, because he's going to hold out and get what he wants. There's even been things coming out too. My God, could he be worse than Hulk Hogan and holding up a show?
Yeah.
Hey, what's good, Stage?
Hulk Hogan didn't say the N. CM Punk didn't say the N word, so
no.
I mean, like, I know CM Punk is bad, but at least CM Punk is not racist.
I see our brothers in the chat. Stage Block, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. And of course, the logo was shown. I instantly knew. To me, I as soon as I seen it, I was like, damn, very WCW Nitro, colours and everything. And the head man, of course, of the old WCW, Eric Bischoff, came out. He was flattered by Collision's logo, but says it confirms his opinion of AEW is correct. So Bischoff came out after fans, once they saw the logo for the upcoming show. Many pointed out the homage to the Monday Nitro logo from the 90s, which also aired on TNT. And naturally, with those comparisons being made, former WCW top man Eric Bischoff weighed in on the design. During the latest episode of his Strictly Business podcast, Bischoff said that illusion is a good word. I say rip-off is a better one. When it comes to the Collision branding, Eazy-E was mostly being fascist because the truth is like it put a smile on my face, and I guess imitation is a sincere form of flattery. But despite the flattery, the former WCW top man and Raw general manager felt justified in his current opinion of AEW. He said, there's not a creative strategy that would allow AEW to execute on the mission of being different than WWE. They have more blood, and that's about the only thing I can think of that really distinguishes them in a meaningful way. You want to really evolve the product, whether it be in the format, how the show was shot, the way promos are treated, and the way stories are told, production values, etc. All of those things have to fit together, but at the core, it's just not coming together, and there has to be a vision, and there's just no vision. That says that is what's going to make it stand out, and this is why we're different, and I'm just not feeling it from Tony and Co. But again,
he's such a player hater. Yeah,
He is, bro. Bischoff. As much as I loved Bischoff back in the old days, I really did. He was always fun to watch.
Yeah, he wasn't.
The man is trying too hard. He is trying way too hard to remain pertinent and important in the wrestling realm.
And it's kind of obvious now too that I think he just needs to cool down on it. Again, this is just sour grapes because WCW faltered in the end.
Yep.
And he wishes it was still around. But AEW, that's the one thing I hope that they don't do all the time. I don't mind a bit of homage to the past, especially because you were on the same network WCW is on. But you got to stop trying to be WCW at every turn, because that's the one thing I don't want to keep hearing. And I hear it a lot. It's a WCW ripoff. They're trying to be WCW. They're doing the same things as WCW. Tony Khan hands out money like Bischoff handed out money. And it's... There's a lot of things that you can't deny that they are. And the thing is Tony needs to realise that half of that is why WCW failed.
Do you really want
Well,
to
that's
get
the
into
thing.
this?
He's got to pick
Or
out the
like,
good stuff about WCW and lose the bad stuff.
I mean, Paul just said it right there. I mean, and you kind of hinted at like Tony has made AEW almost a WCW clone.
Yes.
Not like
Yes.
a rebrand. It's a clone of WCW.
Yeah, indeed, bro.
Almost to every T, even the backstage shit. It's a clone of it.
Yep. And even as I said, as we all love AEW for the wrestling side of it, but we've talked about this. We've talked about their storytelling. Their storytelling is as bad as WCW's.
Yeah.
Yeah. WCW had good storytelling up until the Hogan Sting.
I'm about to say is that after NWO?
No, well, the NWO was still going good, but I'm just going to say it started going downhill after Hogan and Sting had their feud. That's where it slowly started going downhill. You could see it, and then I think not long after that, they split the NWO. They had Sting join one of them, which I just thought was. Don't get me wrong, I love the Wolfpack, but I thought it was stupid. I'm like, this man.
I was wondering what the fuck was Wolfpack and why was it NWO? I thought everybody was against NWO in the WCW days.
I thought having Sting in it, I thought it was it was a cool group. They had the hip group, they had Conan and everything like that, and the rap music, everything. But I thought Sting.
Remember, a lot of that back then was also Hogan flexing his muscle.
It was, but the thing that pissed me off, you had WCW's Undertaker. He was the man, and you have him join a group that he was so against. He left WCW, did that whole 15-month storyline where he didn't wrestle. He was just spookily, eerily away, up in the rafters sometimes with his crow. And it was building, and that was great storytelling. And then you have him do his thing with Hogan, and then literally after a few months afterwards, maybe 3 to 6 months after, you have him join the NWO. What the fuck was that? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And
they didn't tell that story correctly. It could have been done, but it should have taken longer. And two, the reasoning should have been there. There was no reasoning for it.
Yeah, and you're not wrong, Stage. Hogan Sting was the top at Starrcade. That was Starrcade 97.
Was that the infamous Vince Russo shirt?
No, Vince Russo hadn't come in then. He hadn't come in at that point. He didn't come in. Vince Russo didn't come in until 1999. So WCW was still good in 97, was still good in 98. It wasn't until 99 it went off the rails, totally off the rails. But yeah, you're not wrong, Josh. You're not wrong that AEW is a clone, and it's sad because it wasn't looking that way, and I don't think Kenny and Cody and the Young Bucks wanted it to be like this. Not when they did that All-In pay-per-view. They really need to.
I could tell you what happened to this. It's fixable, but it's not fixable doing this. It's broken because you're focusing on so much time on one person. It's CM Punk. Tony Khan has a CM Punk fetish. He's in love with the dude.
Yes.
And I'm like, bro, you don't need CM Punk to really sell tickets.
No.
I get it the first try. All right, cool. Rampage, and all that other shit. But I'm like, bro, you still got Kenny Omega. You still got the Young Bucks. You got Ricky Starks who's up. You got Darby Allin who is up. People like MJF, now he's got to improve as well because their ratings a little bit down because of the MJF shit.
And I know
Jungle Boy.
I know.
Dang, you have people there.
You've got Jericho, who's still a big name. People hear Jericho and they want to tune in for him because, he might be 50, but the guy still draws. He's still a draw, regardless what anyone thinks of him. He's still a draw, and that's why I was like, you've got them, you got Moxley. You do the crossovers with New Japan, so you're getting New Japan indie fans tuning in all the time as well. So I don't understand why he's so hung up on Punk. If this is just not happening, then you need to cut ties. Plain and simple. It's even come out. There's been no talks between him and
cut ties, or at least don't make him the focus of every little thing.
No, they'll have to cut ties because.
Well, at this point, yeah, because they're up to the point of suing him. So yeah,
him and the Young Bucks and Kenny haven't even talked. There's been no apologies made, and he's the one who needs to apologise. And yet, I've been a Punk fan all my life since I first seen him in Ring of Honor back in the day. I think he I mean, not so much now, but he was phenomenal in the ring. Microphone, again, the guy can tell a story, he can talk. Like, he's great on he still has probably one of the best promos ever in WWE history.
Pipe bomb.
The pipe bomb, yeah. It will always be remembered that because he was breaking
I've gone back
kayfabe.
And watched that a lot of times.
Yeah, he broke kayfabe a lot in there. There was things that he actually did say that he was not meant to say, and he didn't give a shit. But that's why I've always liked him. He's gone against the grain in that. But now, the Punk that we've seen in AEW is a shell of his former self, especially in that ring. Not on the microphone. He's never going to lose that. It's just like Jericho. He's never going to lose that. But even Jericho is a shell of his former self in the ring.
Yeah. Well, Jericho's been on a bike for so long. The difference is that Punk is trying to get back on the bike, and his body can't take it no more.
No. And I think the decision he made wrong. I know he obviously wanted to try his hand at it, but he should never have left for UFC. And if he was,
a lot of people beg to differ on that part. But I listen. I ain't gonna knock it. I ain't gonna knock somebody trying to get their bag. But a lot of people like, he's not built for this.
No, if he was gonna do it, don't get me wrong. Like, I believe he needed to go across sooner than what he did. I think he went across too old. In my opinion, he's got. It's like what got told to Taker. Taker has like the fists and everything that could have gone over there, and he would have if it had been a big thing when he first got into the wrestling business. He said, "I wouldn't have been a wrestler. I would have been an MMA fighter." And Punk got. There's a lot of people that wanted him to go across because he's great with his kick. I said that's one thing. He's got to learn more styles and stuff like that. You can't just be all legs. He should have went across. If it was a consideration, he should have went across earlier. When he was younger, and he would have had an opportunity to really learn. Because I think he was learning under Gracie or one of the Gracies, and really take the time to learn. And age, time, I just don't think was on his side.
I got some tea for y'all. I'll tell you, because I work with an internship that actually CM Punk is a part of, the Cage Free Fighting Championship, and he's one of the commentators for the UFC for that. It's like a little indie UFC promotion. Yeah, and he's the color commentator. I haven't spoken to him or anything like that, but I will tell you from the people that I spoke to that they are prepared if he leaves, but they are not shocked. They're not shocked if he doesn't. Like there has been no, like you said, there's been no communication about him leaving. No. They still have him dated for fights.
But I think what they can do now. Hey, shout out to Yobi. What's good, bro? What's good, brother? Good to see you, man. They need to go with Daly's place because they're not gonna. It's gonna be so bad if they go to United Center. And this is getting closer and closer.
No, hold up, Spook. I disagree. You gotta take that smoke. I mean, WWE has done the United Center even after the whole CM Punk walked out. They did it.
Yeah, that's true.
They did it. You gotta do it too. You can't be running from the smoke just because you don't have CM Punk. That's not a good look in my eyes. You can't.
It's not. But those
you don't got the wrestler.
Those fans aren't gonna like it because he's still. Everybody still knows he's contracted, right? Everybody still knows that he was meant to be the face of this thing. So there's going to be an expectation. I think that's what Tony's worried about. That's why ticket sales aren't selling. They're not selling at the United Center. That's the problem. And it's not going to look good for a television debut if that arena is only a quarter full. And that's about as good as I think they're going to sell. And that's not a good look at all, regardless of how many tickets you've sold. You go having a quarter-filled United Centre, and then you're going to go and, obviously do a big sellout show in Wembley. I mean, that's not good for your stance in America. That's why I think he's looking at Daly's Place, because it's a smaller venue. There's already negativity around this. He needs to salvage it, and at least they might... It would look better presented at Daly's Place, knowing full well that they're just not selling tickets for this at the moment. And look, I get the whole don't want to run from it kind of thing, but I just don't think it looks good having a 3/4 empty arena. It really
but if they do end up staying there, they can shoot it in such a way where it won't look that empty.
It might not, but then they're going to have to do that whole fake crowd noise as well, because you're going to have a
WWE gets already enough of crap about the fake crowd noise.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And they'd have to do it. They'd have to do it more so, because WWE does it at sold out shows even.
That I think some of the wrestling shows. I think it's not that the wrestling shows. I think they be picking bad cities to do it at. Like that one city called like Lafayette or some shit like that. They are terrible, bro.
But no, I think right now the best course of action would be to go to their home. That is their home base. I think that works.
Jacksonville.
And the Jacksonville folk will come out. They always did.
Hey, I will try to go if they come and do it in Jacksonville. Okay, I'm just saying.
No, yeah, well, they do really well at Daly's Place. They always have. And it is their home. It was their home through the pandemic and stuff like that. But they usually get good crowds there, and they don't need to worry about not having Punk turn up there, because that crowd was turning up in droves before CM Punk was even freaking a thing in AEW, before he was even signed. So that crowd down there prefers the homegrown talent. So they'll turn up for the Darby Allins. They'll turn up for the MJFs and that. United Center, no. Chicago people are only turning up for their boy. If you're not WWE, they're only turning up for their boy. They know their boy is signed to your company. They're only turning up for him. They don't give a crap. And that's the sad thing about it, is they don't give a crap about anybody else on your roster. They really don't.
Do you think if they say, let's say hypothetically, they stack that card like crazy. They got like a pay-per-view level card, because Collision does have some of the talent that's been missing from AEW, like Andrade, Thunder Rosa, Mario. They're all going to be there.
They're going to be there. But here's the big surprise. Oh, well, I wouldn't even leave it as a surprise. There'd be one name that's out there we know. We know. He currently doesn't have a contract. Drew Mack.
Oh, yeah.
Drew Mack.
As far as right
now, that could put some asses in seats, because it is Drew McIntyre. No, it's not their hometown guy, but it's Drew McIntyre. You're going to need something a little bit more in Chicago, I think, than this, because, as I said, it's because, like you said, Tony's done this to himself, because it was all put out there. The whole thing's been built around CM Punk. I may as well have called it the CM Punk show.
Yep.
And that's why I think, unless they get another big name or two, because Miro don't move the needle. I love Miro myself in the ring and that, but he just doesn't move the needle. Andrade definitely doesn't move the needle. Moves the needle in Mexico, doesn't move the needle. He didn't even move the needle in WWE. That's why they got rid of him. Great talent. Can't talk on a microphone though. They could bring in Commander and a few other guys. I just don't think they've got enough. See, WWE has got so many. They don't even really have to rely on bloody Roman. They've got so many names there.
Seth can sell out that show. You can sell that show off of Seth, AJ. They have individuals.
Edge, even still at his age, people turn up to see him. I know AEW really. This is why they need to put more focus on the 4 pillars. That's your future anyway. Jericho can't keep wrestling forever. Sting's retiring at the end of this year. He might have 1 or 2 more matches himself, and that's about it. But he is said he is retiring. His contract's up at the end of the year. The Hardys are pretty much done. They'll probably run once these contracts are up. They're right into the sunset.
They it's time for them to pack it up.
They really need to focus on the 4 pillars, and make Dynamite, make Rampage, make everything all about MJF, Darby, Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara. It needs to be about them. Obviously, yes, you still have Kenny and the Young Bucks there, but you're not constantly going to have them main eventing in that because, they know that that's not a good look because they're EVPs, and they didn't like watching it back in the day when Triple H had that control in WWE. And
the only time they ever did that was only because of the pandemic, because it was just a terrible situation. So.
And the only time that they did it with Kenny is because he had that momentum and people were wanting to, like, hey, Kenny Omega, why isn't he one of the top? So that's why they did it. But now he's been completely away from it, and he's not even really putting himself in a position to get back in that talk right now because he knows that you got, the other thing is they got, well, apart from the 4 pillars, there's one other guy that you need to build this company around. That's Adam Cole.
Ricky? I was about to say Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks, yeah, but Adam Cole, man, is probably the biggest attraction in that company right now, in my opinion.
He is their biggest baby face, I will say.
Yeah. And again, he's a guy who he seems to work really well both ways. I even seen him play both babyface and heel on the indies before he even had his WWE run. And
that WWE, that NXT run would.
Yeah, it was good. Oh man. And the thing is that he's a rare. You don't see this too often. Guys that are good at playing both roles. Usually, you get a lot of guys. They're either really, really good and comfortable in one role, and not so much in the other. Like take Randy Orton, perfect as a heel, very robotic as a babyface, and you could tell he's not comfortable. But a guy like Jericho works both ways. A guy like Adam Cole works both ways. Kenny Omega doesn't work as a heel, but he works as a babyface. The only reason he worked as a heel is because he was teamed with the right people. You know what I mean? So you can hate the Bucks, you can hate Don Callis, so it worked. You take him away from that, though, and just tried to have him as a heel on his own, it just wouldn't work.
Well, he needs to grow a goatee. Everybody knows that the evil guys have the goatees.
Well, he's got facial hair. He had a real.
Or the Van Dyke. The Van Dyke worked
when he went heel.
You mean the Triple H mutton chops?
Yeah, the Triple H mutton chops going on. I was like, what in the world is he doing here? But no, I think at this point now, and again, I wouldn't have gone with those same colours for the logo either. I knew the minute I seen that logo, I was like, it looks cool, don't get me wrong, but I was like, here we go. They can't get away from this. People are going to go, that's Nitro's logo. That looks exactly like Nitro. And it does. The look of it, the colour of it. I would have gone totally different bloody colours. I would have gone a green. Nice green.
I don't understand why I ain't just go with the Dynamite colors.
Or the Dynamite, yeah. Or the Dynamite colours. But, I would have just gone a green and a blue even, like, combine those two. I just would not. I would have steered as far as possible from any more bloody WCW references. And see, TNA for a while, even themselves, they had the same problem. Like, apart from the 6 side of the ring, which was different, they just tried too much to be like, I'm like, why are you being, like, if you're going to copy any of them, why not copy the company that's still going strong? Why are you copying the company that went out of business?
That's it too. See, you're old enough that they're copying a lot of the stuff that WCW did.
Yeah.
WCW's been gone long enough that a lot of the up and coming wrestling fans have no idea what that is.
Tony and
just like dad, I can drop names that neither one of you know either. I
know Tony. I know Tony and his dad. They've got a lot of money, but that money's going to keep. I mean, if more money's going out than coming in, you're going to run out of it eventually. And you're probably only allocating so much for that, because they've got a football team to run and a soccer team in England to run, and
They got everything to run.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like they can put all their chips into the rest. So obviously AEW would have a budget. If that budget's just running thin and you're not getting tickets, like obviously they're going to get a great payday with the Wembley Stadium show. That's evident. But this is just not looking good. And I think the best option right now, whether you like it or whether you don't, is to change course and go down to Florida. Go down to Jacksonville, go to your home base. It'll look better. And that's what it's about, presentation on television. And it's going to be...
Well, depending on how the contract's drawn, even if they pull out of the current arena, they may still have to pay some kind of fee, because arenas don't like it if you take up their time and then you end up not doing the show.
And see, now this is the other thing I was about to get to before we move to the next topic. He's really pigeoned himself here because he's already drawn up the contract that's already been done. He's booked 2 places for the same date. He's booked Daly's place now. That's been
He
booked.
does that a lot.
And
he does that a lot.
So obviously he's got the money there to play the United Center if they don't go there. And I think until it gets, it's probably going to be like right at the last minute, the week leading in. He's going to give Punk all the time in the fucking world and hope to, he's probably hoping, praying, got everything crossed that they can get this done. But by the seams of it, the only way they're getting it done is if Ace Steel's allowed backstage at Collision. And he's only asked.
I don't know if I want the dude who bit my EVPs backstage. I'm gonna keep it a buck. That could be big.
Exactly. The only way that's gonna work is if they're not there. If you're not gonna have Kenny and the Young Bucks at that show.
Is Collision like SmackDown? Is gonna be like a whole live show?
That's the other thing. It's apparently meant to begin a roster split. They're going to do a WWE and they're going to do a roster split. Now, as I said, this is the only way it works. You can't have Kenny and the Young Bucks on that show if you're going to give in to CM Punk's demands and have Ace Steel backstage. Because
now, how do they have enough talent to do? I mean, to do a proper roster.
They've got enough.
They got enough talent.
Yeah, they've got enough.
But I mean to drive
roster.
both shows. To drive both shows.
Yes, yeah. I mean, if he's going to be a part of it, that's going to be a big thing. Because, as I said, like, again, he's like Jericho. They're not what they used to be in the ring, but they still are names that still get attention. You know. But I mean, he's been in the wrestling news for the last several months. CM Punk, he hasn't even been in a ring. You know what I'm saying? So he's still a name. People want to see him.
Oh yeah, I know. I get that. I'm just saying that.
And that's meant to be
continually carry 2 shows to have eyes on both shows, or is it going to be like
they were going to take him and Jericho off of Dynamite, and him and Jericho were going to be the 2 guys to carry.
They will be the first feud.
Yeah. And so that would be all right because I would leave Dynamite to the younger guys, the Pillars. That's MJF's show. It really is.
It is MJF, it's Jungle Boys, it's Darby's, it's the focus is Dynamite should be the focus of the younger talent because Rampage is dead as it is right now. So they don't even know what they want to do with Rampage. I think they said it's going
show for like an NXT style type thing.
So it's gonna be like what's the fucking word? The developmental show.
Yes. Well, and I won't even go as far as NXT. I'll say FCW. You know, when WWE used to have developmental with FCW.
Yeah, so it's like NXT Level Up. It's like
NXT
Dark
Level
and Dark
Up.
Elevation.
Yeah. It'll be exactly like that's exactly what it's going to be moving into. So
they needed a roster split because there was a lot of people on Dynamite who would start up and just immediately go cold. I mean, Miriam is a perfect example of that. Thunder Rosa hasn't been seen since she surrendered the title.
Miro is actually going to be more a part of Ring of Honor from here on out, apparently.
I thought he was supposed to be they put him on the Collision poster, so oh my god, they have no clue what they're doing over there.
No. Obviously he's going to be because Ring of Honor, look, they own Ring of Honor, so their talent's always going back and forth. I mean, Joe's been more put over there, but he still shows up at AEW when he's, wanted on AEW. But Miro will probably be on Collision. you'd probably see him a lot more in Collision than you will Dynamite, but then you'd also see him a lot more in Ring of Honor. And Yobi brings up a good point too. He goes, I'm going to be honest, if Punk is this much trouble, let him go. As for the Elite,
everybody's been saying that.
I love them.
Tony Khan's the only one that doesn't want to realize that. Like, bro, CM Punk is a cool nostalgia act. We get it. Yeah. He can put asses in seats.
Yeah.
But at this point, let's keep it a buck, bro. When it was time to go, this motherfucker could not go.
No, he broke down. His body broke down. Yeah.
We watched him like literally, like I really was like, dog, you're asking Pentagon Jr. to carry CM Punk. You're asking Powerhouse Hobbs to carry CM Punk. You're asking John Moxley to carry CM Punk.
You're
asking MJF. MJF to carry, especially in those last couple matches they had. You're asking them to carry this dude. He cannot go. Now I know everybody wanted to see Elite versus FTR. I'm the only one that did not want to see that shit because I was like, bro, I don't want to see 5 dudes carry the old dude. No offense.
yeah, exactly. So, and that's the thing. That's a thing I suppose you could say between him and Jericho. You don't need to carry Jericho. Yes, he's had to change his style, because of his age and that, so he's not as much of a high flyer as he once was, but his body's still holding up. That's probably the cave you can give Jericho. He can still put on pretty close to a 5-star match, I would say. You put him in there with the right guys and stuff like that.
5 stars cutting it, maybe 3.5.
But Yobi says they should strip Kenny and the Young Bucks of their EVB titles. Makes no damn sense.
Who said that? Who said that, Spook? I'm sorry.
Yobi says that.
Yobi. I kind of agree with you. I think the EVP status is. I don't think they're ready for EVP. I'm not trying to shoot at them or nothing like that.
No.
EVP is a serious role to be in.
Well,
I give credit to Cody because he talked about this. He just said it wasn't for me right now in my stage of my career.
I think if you're gonna, I think you take them off them, so then they're free to just, do their wrestling and stuff. Dustin Rhodes, he's about to retire. Move him into a EVP. He's been in the business that long. He knows the ins and outs, right? I
think Dustin would be a perfect person.
You got the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. I'd be putting him in an EVP role again. Been in the
Kazarian.
business. Yeah. No, Kazarian's over in Impact Wrestling now. Unfortunately, he's not with AEW anymore. But you got Dean Malenko. You got Arn Anderson. They're older heads. But again, they've been in the business for so long. Both of them worked backstage roles for WWE, so they know that side of it as well. You've got guys that are more deserving of EVPs there, straight up. And I get it. I get why Tony, because they're friends, because it was theirs and Cody's idea and Tony's money that got it started. But it kind of restricts them because... Yes, they've been in the business, but they've all been more in Japan, and so they really only know the Japanese style.
Oh.
Yeah, they only really know the Japanese style, and that's the issue. You got to entertain an American audience, not a Japanese audience. What works in Japan doesn't necessarily translate. You know what I mean?
You need some people back there who know how to tell the stories that Americans want to.
Exactly.
And Tony's not that guy. Let's keep it a buck.
No.
Tony can put on the matches, but that's pretty much all
he can do. A card, but they want to improve. They need riders, and they need them badly.
Well, I'm about to say, I don't know if it's going to be a little bit tough to get some writers, the whole writer strike going on. So
at the moment, yeah, you're not wrong on that.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to just hold down the fort for the time being, obviously. But
well, I did hear this. Daniel Bryan / Bryan Danielson will be helping creative, so that
and apparently he got high praise when he was doing that back in WWE. So that
during that pandemic, he made that Intercontinental picture very better to watch.
So that's actually probably a good move. And of course, obviously the second half of this topic, just quickly before we get into our speculation on the pay-per-views. We finally got a date, boys. Ex-WWE dev Geeks has returned to wrestling, as we know, with AEW Fight Forever on June 27th, which will be coming to PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and the Series consoles, Switch, and PC. They're the For those that don't know Ukes, I don't know how because they've been around for so long, but for those that don't know, they're the renowned Japanese developer responsible for nearly 2 decades of popular WWE games, and they finally marked their return to the wrestling genre next month. Ukes obviously has been associated with wrestling ever since its inception in 1995. Studio's long association with WWE began in the early 2000s. I think around 2000, 2001 with the launch of WWF SmackDown. Continued to work on the WWE license right up until 2018's WWE 2K19. Yes, it does have 2K in it, but they worked on it. When publisher, obviously 2K, then decided to hand the reins exclusively to the US-based Visual Concepts. So, with 2K temporarily out of commission back in, 2020, wrestling fans were quite intrigued. When in 2020, it was announced by Ukes would be returning and making a WWE rival with AEW under the watch of publisher THQ Nordic. And now we'll finally get a chance to see what the developer's been up to when it launches next month. Now, for those that haven't been following the game, before I hand it off to the boys on their thoughts of this, Fight Forever is going to be taking a retro approach to design, including the graphics, including handcrafted animations and nostalgic arcade feel. Promises a wide variety of match types. There are single matches, tag team, 3-ways, 4-ways, ladder matches, casino battle royale, Falls Count Anywhere, exploding barbed wire death matches, unsanctioned lights out matches, which includes weapons and blood. There will be Anarchy in the Arena. There will also be the Stadium Stampede. There's also a career mode, online multiplayer, plus various customization options, enabling players to fiddle around with their wrestlers' attire, appearance, move sets, entrance, teams, arenas, etc. They are taking, I guess you could say, obviously the graphics look a lot better, but a very WWF No Mercy feel to this. It's about damn time. We haven't had an arcade wrestling game or proper arcade wrestling game really, because I don't even count that Battlegrounds crap that WWE put out.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they haven't had an arcade wrestling game for a while. We've got plenty of simulation, so this is going to be something different. I, for one, am looking forward to it. The announcement finally, was it yesterday with Kenny? I was like, this day couldn't have come any sooner. Like, I've been waiting a moment for this. I'm really looking forward to it. How about you, Paul? You're really looking forward to finally being able to
I
get
am
your hands on it?
actually. And if you're saying it's going to be retro and it's got THQ Nordic involved, I'm looking. It's probably going to be like WCW versus Raw or whatever it was back when wrestling games were good.
Oh yeah, the WCW versus NWO Revenge. Yeah, see, that was all the same guys that are working on this because they did that game.
Yeah, that was all THQ Nordic. Those were the good games.
That was THQ, and well, I think they were AKI at the time before they evolved into Ukes. But they did that game. They did WWF WrestleMania 2000. Then they followed that up with WWF No Mercy. So it's going to be like those 3 games. And of course, as you've seen, they're going to have those cool looking fun mini games in between, because that baseball looking thing that I've seen in the trailer and stuff, that looks pretty cool. I was like, I know it's not a wrestling, but it just adds something to it. It's arcadey, so I think that's cool.
Well, and we both have played the 2K WWE game that's on the screen, and there are so many things that they could do better than that. The blood in this game, in the 2K game, sucks. It's like barely noticeable. I mean, I remember back in the old days, man, you played that THQ game. If there was blood, it was on the ring.
I'm glad you brought that up, brother, because as we know, the hold up for this release date, well, there was 2 hold ups. Obviously, GCW has taken to court over silly, stupid crap about the Fight Forever name. But before that, they were having trouble passing it through the ratings board. I'm just hoping that they didn't have to tone down the blood that they had in there.
Yeah.
I really hope that wasn't the case. Because the blood I was seeing...
I want to see some Mick Foley, Brock Lesnar level bleeding, okay?
Oh, yeah, I want to see the way Moxley bleeds on television. That's the type of bleeding I want to see.
Yeah.
Especially if you can't have the most minimalist blood if you're going to have an exploding barbed wire death match.
Yeah.
And that I'm telling you now, in the game, those explosions want to be 100-fold better than what it was for that match between him and, because that match was fantastic, but the explosions, the timing was off, and it was like pew, 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 pew. I was like, what the fuck is this? It was so bad.
And I'm hoping the controls are that they're simplified.
Oh, they'll be a lot more simplified than 2Ks. Guaranteed.
Yep. And I'm hoping that they'll be that they'll have good accessibility options. You know me, that's always going to be my thing.
Yeah.
If I want to play this game, it better be accessible. You know.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Joe. I still say to this day, brother, WWF No Mercy is the GOAT of wrestling games. They had the wrestling mechanics in that game so down pat, and I haven't. Not even this new 2K can match it. Just from the wrestling physics and mechanics in that game. That's still talked about to this day for anybody that ever played WWF No Mercy. It is the greatest wrestling game ever made. Hey, Jed, what's good, bro? What's good? Good to see you, man.
Hey, Dred. And the fact that this game is more arcadey, which is nice. Arcadey is nice for games like for wrestling.
Oh, well, there you go. Yobi's got another good thing in the chat. He says, Brian Williams is a dev on the game, and he addressed the blood on 2K, and he said they will get back to making the blood mechanic better in the future. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. How about you, Josh?
I mean, yeah.
I've been thinking about it. I'm probably gonna pick it up most likely because people on my Discord been telling me like, "Yo, are you gonna get it or not?" I'm leaning towards it. Right. I never really played an arcade wrestling game that was good, so this would be hopefully my first. I've always been like into the simulator.
Young people.
I've always been into like the simulator wrestling, like SmackDown versus Raw or 2K.
Right.
I don't know. The only question is, I don't know if I'm picking it up day one. That's the only thing. It comes out in June, and my June like releases are.
It's a packed month. I think the only thing that's sort of saving it is at least it's not at the start of June, so it's not coming out at the same time as Diablo and Street Fighter.
Yeah, so I might get it somewhere early July-ish, maybe when I could build the bank back up. Because like again, June is just jam packed. June has got too much of my time with Street Fighter and Diablo and Final Fantasy. So, but I'm definitely going to I'm like 80-10. I'm sure I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah. I think it's going to just, as I said, it's just going to offer something a little bit different. You know, that's going to be the good thing about it. It's just something different to the 2K games. Another wrestling competitor out there, and it's good to see. There hasn't been a competitive game since. And it wasn't even that good, but since TNA had their Impact game out, you know, that was the last time that there was two different games going on out there. Of course, you got the New Japan games and stuff like that as well. That I've always loved, but they're been more sold in Japan than everything. You have to kind of import them a lot of the time. So, and Kenny loves those games. A lot of that has gone into this as well, apart from like WWF No Mercy and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm very thankful that we finally got a date, because I think I mentioned it to you before, Josh, that I was getting a bit worried there that might not see the light of day for a while. It just seemed one thing after the next was just going wrong for them through the ratings board, and then that GCW taking them to court over the bloody name. And I was like, how do you take them to court over a name that's basically a chant? You know, it's not like you licensed the chants. Like, I don't even think WWE can license the crowd, you know, doing their with Seth Rollins, you know, because it's the crowd, unless you're going to go and, you know, get trademark everybody in the arena. But no, it's good to see. I think it's going to be a fun little alternative, and like Kenny said, it's going to be easy to pick up and play, so that's going to draw more people in, I think, as well, that maybe just don't like the simulation style of games. Cheers, Yobi. Yeah, I'll read that after the show, bro. For sure. the interview with Brian. Yeah, so he's, like Yobi said, he's been a huge part of the WWE games. And he left, what did he say? He left Ukes AEW to come back to the 2K franchise. So he was actually working on this. Okay, cool. But anyway, folks, we are up to our the biggest topic of the evening. We're about to discuss and speculate, of course, on the 3 upcoming pay-per-views. Obviously, we'll start with the first that'll be airing this coming weekend on Saturday, the 27th, from Jeddah Superdome, Saudi Arabia, will be Night of Champions. Obviously, they will be celebrating at that event because I think now he's only a few days away from it. Roman hitting the 1,000-day mark. Yeah. And the card for the evening, it's only a small card. They only got five matchups for the event. So
is the card finalized?
I'm pretty sure it is finalized now.
Okay.
Unless something else comes up. I don't think much happened on Raw that was going to add to it. Unless something else comes up on SmackDown, then this is pretty set, which 5 matches.
Sounds like the Triple H pay-per-view, so I'm not surprised by it.
Yeah, they've still got to go 3 hours, so I dare say like the Seth Rollins AJ Styles match could easily go 40 minutes or more.
No, that's going to cook.
Yeah.
That one's going to cook right there.
Bianca and Asuka could easily go 20 minutes to half an hour. The tag match could easily go 20 minutes to half an hour. Cody and Brock, I expect maybe a bit longer match than their last match, but not much longer. And I couldn't tell you how long with Gunther and Mustafa, it could be a squash match. I don't know.
Actually, I don't think the Gunther match is going to be squashed as much as people think. I think they want to give Ali some time. He's been working a lot. It is in Jeddah, so he has ties there. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be like a hometown type match. Gunther's obviously going to win, but I think it's a match to give Ali some shine. So I'm picking Gunther for that.
I'll give my thoughts on who I think might come out on top in the matches, and I'll hand it off to you boys on it. So, obviously in the Bianca Belair versus Asuka match, I'm actually tipping Asuka to take the title this time. I think they've got that momentum still behind her, and I think it's time for a change. But Belair, broke that record, and I think they were waiting on that, just like they were waiting on Roman to get his 1,000 days up. I think it's time. I think it's time for a change, and do it now while, as I said earlier, Bianca hasn't got stale, so you don't want to keep pushing that. And
know what?
I think it's time for Asuka.
I was going to pick Bianca. I think you're right. It's time for Asuka.
Yeah.
Only because, the whole rumor that Bianca might go heel, which is be interesting. Bianca has had a great run with the Raw Women's Champion. She's probably arguably one of the greatest modern day champions of the era. I'll also go out and say this is that they don't really book her that well in terms of storytelling.
No, they don't.
They struggle to book her. So I think giving it to Asuka helps.
Yeah.
And I don't know what brand is Asuka on, Raw?
SmackDown.
SmackDown? Damn, that's still and Rhea's on SmackDown, so that's still they gotta figure out that whole thing.
No, Rhea's on Raw. Rhea's on Raw.
Oh, Rhea's on Raw? Okay, they gotta figure out that whole thing. But I think eventually obviously they're gonna try and build to the whole Rhea versus Bianca match. That I think eventually one of them has to lose the title. And it's not gonna be Rhea. So it might be time for Bianca to drop the title.
How about you, Paul? What's your thoughts on this matchup? You think Belair's going to retain, or do you think it's Asuka's time?
I mean, it really kind of depends on where they want to go, but I could see them giving it to Asuka for now. I mean, especially if they're going to start setting up Bianca to turn heel, they got to give her a reason to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What better way than being sour grapes after losing your title?
Yep, especially if she loses the title in some kind of sideways way, which we know what WWE is totally,
Yeah, I mean,
possible.
Asuka might spit in her face, spit that mist in her
Yeah.
face, and and
Yeah,
I love the
we,
storyline that they're using right now with her, where she's what did they say on?
Kana, she's her darker self from
Well, no, with the whole mist thing, she's not training's not the word.
yeah, I can't think of it because I just watched it earlier
Because they
today,
talked
too,
about
but-
it on SmackDown. She's
Yeah.
testing the pepper spray. That's what it's in the testing phase. That's what they kept going on
Yep.
about. And they were really emphasizing it. Like, so I think that's what made it even more so the week before, where Belair was really selling it, like as if it was
Yep.
really stinging her eyes.
And she and I tell you, Asuka looks totally psychotic when she does it too. It's like,
Oh
wow.
yeah. That's why she's she's fantastic. I love her as a sort of funny, I guess side of when she's a babyface. But I love this darker, more sadistic heel run that she's on right now, and she does crazy expressions really, really well.
Oh yeah.
She kind of reminds me of a female version of the Great Muta, to be quite honest.
I think that's actually the best pick. The description of Asuka, the female version of Great Muta,
and that's her. I mean, that is her inspiration. Especially with the face paint and everything like that. And he was really aggressive, violent as a heel, like really would work stiff. Pull some crazy emotions as well, especially before he started donning a mask, so you could actually see his face with the face paint and stuff. But okay. So the next match, obviously I'm going with Gunther here. They're not taking that title off him, and he's certainly not going to be dropping it to Little Mustafa Ali, who. Look, I think they'll give him. I think he's alright. I think they'll give him some time, but I see Mustafa as really a complete joke. I'm sorry, I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but he is, and he's been portrayed as a complete joke. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next year and a half he's future endeavoured at some point, because while he's talented in the ring, that's about as far as it goes, and they've got enough little lightweight guys in that company, so and even more so coming up from NXT eventually in Carmelo and why am I spacing on what's the British guy that's currently teaming with Wes a lot. He does the meditation.
Pete Dunne?
No, in NXT does all that meditation and
Tyler
Bate. Yes, Tyler Bate, who's another little guy.
Dope dude, dope wrestler too.
But yeah, so I'm going with Gunter. I think they might get 10, maybe 15 minutes at most. I won't go over the 15-minute mark though.
Yeah, I think it's about right. Gunther. Yeah, it's obvious Gunther's going to win that match because I don't.
Gunter's going to light his chest up. I just want to say that before you go off.
Oh yeah, that's going to be the ticker there. With that is the whole Gunther.
One thing I predict, I expect Mustafa to fly off the top rope and just get bam right in his chest, like smacked out of the air, man. Oh, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna take the wind out of him. Who are you boys choosing in this matchup? Who you got, Josh?
Gunther. Yeah, all the way, Gunther.
Gunther. How about you, Paul?
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think Gunther, and hopefully I don't have to listen to his introduction.
Mate, hey, now that might make the match drag out a little bit. Maybe the intro, the intro's the longest part.
Yeah, that's going to be the first 20 minutes of the match.
Yeah,
right there,
25-minute intro, and he'll take his sweet time to walk down the ring and get in there, and the match will be over in 5 minutes. Then,
Dude, them Jetta stays be massive.
I know, and like a guy like him, I mean. Don't get me wrong, and I love it, and it all added to his entrance. But could you imagine Undertaker now walking down there doing that real slow? It'd take half an hour to get to the fucking ring. An hour later, what? He's still walking to the ring? I love you, man, but come on, man. I want to see tombstone someone, not just whilst I'm down here. No, but yeah, I think it'll be probably one of the quickest matches on the card. That one. I'm just interested to see that's a sort of a little bet I've got going on with my own self. Is who's going to have the quickest match? Is it going to be that match, or is it going to be the Cody and Brock match? But obviously, the next match we'll speculate on: Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns and Solo, with the tag team championships on the line. Now, this has been an interesting storyline. I think it's way too soon to take the belts off of Kevin and Sammy. I don't think Roman needs to add to his collection. In fact, I think they're trying to slowly take those belts off of him. So, and they're just not a tag team. I think it plays in with this storyline if they lose. Because if I was the Usos, oh boy, that could play real interesting. They could come out on this next SmackDown and have a good.
That's
old
why
chuckle.
I got stuff to say about this.
Yeah, they could come out and have a good old chuckle and say, "Oh, you thought you could get it done, hey, Tribal Chief?" You know, sort of thing. Like, yeah, you know better than us. We lost too, and now you lose. You know, so and I think it's going to be really the start of his demise. In fact, I don't think this is going to happen, but I would love to see Roman be the one to take a pin. And it's a tag match. Does not have any effect on his singles reign.
I was about to say that. Would it have an effect on the singles reign? Because he hasn't been pinned in God knows how long.
No, I've seen other champions where they go on and on. Oh, he's never been pinned in a singles match, but he's been pinned in a tag team match. You know, I've seen it before.
Shit, Roman might take the pin because do you make Solo take the pin?
I would prefer Roman to take the pin because they're still building Solo up, and they've already got him at a point that he's like this real destructive force and stuff like that. And I've said the whole time, I would love it to be Roman. They come in, they super kick him because they're sick of his, excuse the language, they're sick of his shit, and they cost him the match.
Well, see, that's what I was gonna say. Also, I could see Solo costing him the match.
Well, I could see that too.
Remember we talked about last week about Solo possibly being the one to do the turn.
SmackDown set that up too, where he turned around, bumped into him, and Solo, did what Solo did, sort of like looking over his shoulder, him off like, "You do that again, I'll break you," kind of look. You do that again, I'll break you. I actually think we might be right on this poll. I think Solo's gonna. I mean, I think the Usos will still play their involvement too, but Solo's gonna be the one to really destroy Roman. I really think that's what they're setting it up for, and it would be believable.
By the way, you haven't seen it tonight, but Kevin Owens dedicated their win.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
to the somebody sent me a clip of that. That was hilarious.
Yeah. So how about you, Josh? Who you thinking?
Oh, Kevin and KO.
Yeah.
Roman, I thought Solo was going to take the pin, but not. If Roman takes the pin, then this is building more to the story that Roman and the Bloodline are going to fall apart by SummerSlam. Because I heard they might be promoting him for Money in the Bank. Yeah. So it's building. It seems like this Bloodline storyline is going to build up the SummerSlam. Yeah. Cody wins and all that. Then we get back to the story of Roman and Jay, because that's really is the story of the Bloodline.
And now like I said, I could see Solo. Roman's about to get pinned, and he's looking to Solo for help, and Solo just stands there and gives him the old "F you," and walks away.
Yobi says in the chat, he goes, "Roman came off as a pussy when he bumped into Solo. I was dying." Like, he did, actually. He did. He looked like he was running scared, like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize you were like that close behind." Whoa.
Yep.
Because as I said, they built Solo up since bringing him up as this stone-faced killer, so to speak.
Yeah. Plus, I don't like the whole idea that they basically last week they were like, we're not going to let you try for the tag team. We're going to let Roman and Solo do it. Like,
yeah.
Where did that come from? That just looks so chicken shit.
Yeah. But no, I just think it adds, like you said, Josh, it adds to the storyline if Roman's the one to take the pin. Because he's going to come out and do his thing after, finally taking a lot. Again, it's not in the singles, doesn't affect his singles. But but still he'll be annoyed that because he's always at them, right? You're the losers. You lost. Rah, rah, rah. It's just going to be so funny, and I think adds to it if they have that opportunity. So you went out there and you lost for a kind of thing.
Yeah.
And really plays into that downfall,
I could actually see all three of them, the Usos and Solo, basically giving Reigns the finger this weekend. Because he treats them all like shit.
Yeah,
he really does.
I think it's coming.
That Jay scenario, was it Jay? No, Jimmy. That Jimmy scene was highlight. Yes, it's coming. The fall is coming.
Yeah. See, I think when Kevin and Sammy do finally drop them, they're actually going to drop them to an actual tag team.
DIY. It's DIY.
Yeah. Whether that's whether that's eventually back to the Usos, whether that's to Kofi and Xavier, whether it's to the Street Profit, I think it'll be to an actual tag team, or it could even be to. I know Paul's not going to probably like this, but they are a tag team, Gunter's boys. It could even be to them.
I think they said they might be booking them for Money in the Bank, so it was a rumor.
Yeah, they're not gonna because they're a put together tag team, and so it's not like they're gonna have them drop it to another put together and literally just put together tag team. And I think that also is going to play into it. They'll play up that the chemistry's not there and something will go wrong between them, and then Roman and Solo are going to have a stare off, and Roman's probably going to use him a lot, and then he's going to he might come up and really slap Roman on the chest hard kind of thing. Or Christ, he might even slap him in the face. I would, but slap the taste out of his mouth. There's going to be an intense moment there where shit's just going wrong, and that's where it's just going to all start to fall apart. And where I could see happening, right? Let's just take the Usos out of the equation. Like what I'm saying heats up, and Solo hits him with that thumb, and then they just take the cover on it. That would be so funny, and and then that'll lead to obviously Solo would then choose his brothers over his cousin, and they'll be happy with that, because then that will still play in from the storyline that was going on 2 weeks ago, where Jay was at him and saying, "Hey, you should be siding with us. I'm your brother. He's not." So I think that, but the only problem there is,
like I said, I could still see Solo just basically, Roman's in trouble and Solo doesn't help him. Paul tries to step in and Solo stops Paul from stepping in.
Yeah,
that too. Yeah.
Or even that might be how the Usos get involved. They pull Heyman, pull him down from the apron kind of thing, and all shit goes awry. All shit goes awry. But
I can only hope, because I'm tired of these guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely coming to an end. The whole Bloodline story. That's obvious. It's just
He's been going on for 3 years.
Like you mentioned, they could pull the trigger this weekend because he's got his 1,000 days up. So they could pull the trigger then any time that they want to.
Yep.
They only wanted him to get to 1,000 days because those rumours that they did want him to go on all the way through next year and have him beat Hulk died down. And I think for good reason, because fans aren't gonna deal with him as the champion on SmackDown for much longer. I've said it for a little while now. It's starting to become very stale and boring. Him as the champ, his brand is starting to get damaged. I've loved the storyline. I have thoroughly enjoyed his heel run, and I think it was the best thing for him because I couldn't stand him as a babyface. And I hope he never ever becomes a babyface again, because he does it's proven fact he does his best work as a heel. Keep him as a heel. Even though we've seen it come out that they view Solo as a really top heel for the next 10 years, that doesn't mean that he can't have a couple of little babyface runs, in between. It's not like you're going to keep someone a heel for 10 years straight, not in this day and age.
Right.
you know, even if it's just short little spurts as a babyface kind of thing, which we've seen before. Like, I mean, look at Triple H. You know, yeah, he did his best work as a heel, but he had his little spurts as a babyface, even if it was just for 3 to 6 months or something like that. You could do that with Solo. But obviously, moving on to the next match, and hopefully it's the end of this damn feud because I'm sick of seeing Brock's ugly mug on the screen. Cody and Brock Lesnar. Yeah, but it's because he's not the same wrestler he was. I preferred watching Brock Lesnar when he first was in the business, and he was taking risks. Now it's
You talking about like Brock, like he was doing like
shooting star
640
press.
splash.
Yeah, bro. And I agree with you. I think we discussed it on the first pod. He's boring now. It's just suplex after suplex after suplex. I mean, it's like, is that all you can do? And then you do your F5.
Yeah.
Like, is that it? And here's people, and just before we get into this, here's people that I've seen complain for years. John Cena and his 5 moves. Well, at least he has 5 fucking different moves, eh?
Yeah.
I mean,
Brock
that's
Lesnar.
old John Cena. That ain't John Cena now.
No, you know, John now doing Hurricane Ranas and shit like that. But no, I think Cody comes out on top here again to further his storyline. I think this match will go, I think, slightly. I'm not even going to really go and try and pick a time limit, but I think it goes slightly longer than their last match. Slightly. Really puts Cody with all the momentum back in that picture to take down Roman. Obviously, they still need to find a way to get him over on SmackDown, but what's your boys' thoughts on this? You both seeing Cody come out on top?
Yeah, it's Cody. I'm going Cody. Only because, like, what's the point of Cody losing, especially if the whole point is to finish the story and beat Reigns. So I don't think he's going to be losing anytime soon. Cody wins, and we start to get ready for Money in the Bank, which should most likely will participate in.
Yeah.
These are predictable. Like, think about this card. Is like they're very predictable.
Here we go. Paul, I'm hearing Paul's little noise. Are you going with Brock here, Paul?
Yeah, well, because Vince McMahon. Okay, I'm just saying. You know.
You really think Vince would have Brock win? I seem like Brock is willing to, like, listen, I don't need to win anymore. That's just from what I look at. Because Brock has been working with people that just like Brock doesn't normally work with those people.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see him trying to drag this out even longer, which would be annoying as hell. I want Brock to lose, trust me. I'm tired of this because his thing now is, okay, I've got like 2 moves I do, and I'm going to sneak attack Cody every chance I get and beat him down more and more and more. Okay, we've done the same thing for 2 months now. Get over it.
And you might have something here because Stage in the chat, he even thinks it wouldn't be fair to Brock because he's been on a bit of a losing streak lately. Maybe he just needs that win.
How's he been on a losing streak? He's only lost twice? And only once?
Well, he lost it. He lost
that Backlash, and he won at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did win at WrestleMania. He did, yeah. But didn't he lose? Did he lose before? Yeah, he did. He lost twice lost twice to Bobby Lashley.
Oh yeah. No, he beat Bobby at what was the Elimination Chamber. He beat Bobby.
No, he lost.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. He did lose because it was the whole
disqualification.
The whole thing. Yeah. They never finished that story on, which was stupid. But
and then I'm pretty sure Bobby was it that pay-per-view that Bobby completely destroyed him afterwards though?
Yeah, it was the pay-per-view before. That was that.
Yeah, threw him around like a freaking rag doll. It's like, wow.
What pay-per-view was that? That was the Logan Paul Roman Reigns pay-per-view.
Yeah, that was it that in Saudi Arabia too?
Yeah, I don't know what the name was. I forgot.
But no, I think maybe it could go either way. But you and Stage have a point. Like maybe with Vince still there, it is Saudi Arabia too. Maybe they do go with Brock. Hence,
hold up.
By the way, I was gonna point out too. They don't necessarily need to get Cody over to SmackDown for a championship drive because they could just hold it off for another pay-per-view. They'll do some kind of qualifier thing again like they've been doing so much of.
No, I disagree. I think because everybody sees it. This is SummerSlam. Cody has to win at SummerSlam. That is the next biggest pay-per-view.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but he
okay.
He doesn't need to end up at SmackDown in order to face Roman Reigns.
No, but
that's why.
If they're not going to do a trade, which we know they've done trades after drafts plenty of times,
which wouldn't make sense either. So the only thing is that
he wins.
He has to win Money in the Bank. Yeah,
he has to win Money.
That
in the
is the only option,
and that's probably possibly what they're going to do. That's probably what they're going to do. Having win Money in the Bank, he gets the choice. And it has to be, as I said, it has to be Roman, because if storyline what they go, oh no, he's going to choose the world champion.
Totally out there. Somebody else wins Money in the Bank, say one of the Usos or the other, or Solo, and they give the briefcase to Cody. Say, get him. I'm just saying, I've seen crap like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, either way, yeah.
But that's not good writing. That's the thing. That's you've been writing this great story. Why would you?
It's not necessarily good writing, but they've done it before.
They have done it before. Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have.
But that's the thing that people want over. Like, we want the stories to make sense at least.
The only thing that's going to annoy me is if they have him win Money in the Bank and they still have him go after the world champ. I'll be like, you got to be kidding me. So he's not going to be the one to take down Roman, and. We'll soon find out. Obviously at Money in the Bank, if he's in the match, if he's going to win it, and if he wins it, then we'll probably have to wait to the next night on Raw to find out if he does it as quick as Rhea did and announce who she's going to go after when she won the Royal Rumble.
And Cody, he doesn't necessarily need to announce that quick either.
Cody being a baby face like Cena, he'll probably take that approach like, announce who I'm going after instead of.
Well, that's the thing. So if Cody, if Cody participates in Money in the Bank and he wins Money in the Bank, the story is right there. He doesn't need to say anything. It is just, hey, we all know who I'm fighting, and it's this dude. So SummerSlam, you just start building up the promos, and then you start selling the show.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
No, it has to. But that's why I'm asking you: if it goes the other way, and for some stupid reason, we know WWE does stupid decisions from time to time, and they don't have him go after Roman, that's gonna piss a lot of people, and it won't be good for him.
It'll piss me off. I'll tell you that.
And it won't be good for him, because that's just going to feel like a cheap out if they have him go after the world champ. It's like, no, he in his storyline, he needs to take down Roman. He needs to take. If you're not going to have him do that, then what was the whole point of doing what you did at WrestleMania?
All of this.
Or what was the whole point in even having him in the main event against Roman at WrestleMania? Like, you may as well have had Seth in there. So.
Because I hope they don't wait another year to finish this off at the next WrestleMania, because
I've told people this is the reverse of Daniel Bryan, where Daniel Bryan went from SummerSlam to WrestleMania. This is WrestleMania to SummerSlam.
Yeah, if he doesn't drop it at SummerSlam, then he ain't dropping it till WrestleMania next year. If they have him win and hold on to the titles at SummerSlam, he will. I guarantee you, they'll make him hold it till WrestleMania next year. Because SummerSlam's the only other big pay-per-view this year, out of all the pay-per-views to come for the rest of this year. If they don't pull the trigger there, they're going to have to wait until... I mean, you could have him do it at Royal Rumble. That's a big pay-per-view too, but they'll probably likely wait then till WrestleMania. And it's already been put out there. If the whole plan... And I mean, sometimes WrestleManias... are planned out at least the main events are planned out like 12 months sometimes ahead of schedule, right?
Oh yeah,
if the word out there and
I don't know if you remember that Carlo and we interviewed the guy who used to write for NXT.
Yeah,
and that's some of the stuff we asked him about.
If him
how
and
far out do they write these things out?
Get their way, maybe they do have him hold it to WrestleMania, and Seth is the one that takes him down, because those two have been going to management talking that they want to verse each other at next year's WrestleMania,
which I think makes sense, as in Roman just challenges Steph for the world title.
Yeah, that's what I reckon.
I'm gonna say, if you want to build the world title, you gotta have your two biggest stars in your company duke it out for it, which is Roman and Seth, especially with their story that they share. That makes the most sense. While Cody can do his own thing with that title. Like I think the plan is there for them. The question is, are they willing to pull the trigger on the plan? That's the only thing.
And
Exactly.
you know, one thing I keep going back to is last WrestleMania they kept pushing the can Cody do what his father was never able to do, and you know,
Yeah.
and they kept pushing it, and they kept pushing that,
That's why, and
So
again,
that's one reason I could see it happening again next year,
just
and
due
that
to
it
that,
actually happening.
yeah, just
Yeah.
due to that, that's why it needs to be those titles. It cannot be this new world title that he wins, because
Right.
it just, as I said, it would feel cheap. It would just feel so cheap,
Yeah.
and fans aren't going to like that. They built, because of the way they built, like you said, Cody up and build it around. I mean, Roman is holding the WWE champion, and that's the champion mainly. It's not really the undisputed half of it. It's the WWE championship that his father was trying to get back in the day. He actually technically won it at a house show too, but they had to have him give the belt back because of something. I forget what the reason was, but that leads us obviously to the main event of this pay-per-view. Seth freaking Rollins versus AJ Styles to crown the first, well, we'll say the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion. I'm going Sethy all the way in this. He's my guy.
Seth.
Yeah, he's my guy. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, I will put it out there. It doesn't really matter who you have out of these two, because they're both established. They're both believable. They're both fantastic in their own rights. You can't go wrong either way. And even though I'm wanting Seth to win, there is a reason I would like to also see AJ win it. AJ and the OC are currently on SmackDown. AJ wins it and they get brought across. There's your trade. Cody can go over to SmackDown and don't even have to be involved in your Money in the Bank. And then our boy, our boy
makes sense.
and
Yeah.
then I was about to say our boy Josh here on the panel can get what he wants. LA Knight winning Money in the Bank, right? So if they go with AJ Styles, obviously it's just going to be an automatic, right? Because that's Raw's top. That's going to be Raw's top title. So he comes across with his group.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That makes sense.
And you send Cody over in the trade. They do the trade, right? You come across because you're now our champion. Cody, you're going over there, and I don't know. You send somebody else over.
Finish the story.
Yep. Finish the story. Yep. There's the way to do it without even having him anywhere near Money in the Bank. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and I did say on last week's episode, it had been put out there. And I mean, we all know plans can change. They were looking at putting the belt on AJ. So if they go that route, that's their opportunity. You can have someone entirely different win Money in the Bank, and then that person can go for the world title down the line, whatever. But there's your opportunity, because AJ will have to come back to Raw with that title. You can send Cody over, because you're going to have to replace him on. Well, you're going to have to send Cody and maybe, as I said, one or two others, because that'd be 4 people coming across to Raw. So he'll obviously have the Good Brothers and Min Shin coming across with him. So you could get away with probably sending Cody and a female, one of the females over there to fill that sort of gap there. But that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Even though, as I said, I want Seth to win because he has worked his ass off. Ass off for this. But, yeah, I'm also, as I said, I like to look at things from every angle. And from just that perspective I just talked about, maybe AJ is the right choice. What do you think, Pop?
I'd like to see that too, but I will point out they've been highlighting they've been highlighting Seth a lot lately. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they really have. I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah.
promos and everything. So I'm wondering if they're setting him up to probably take the win for the. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good match either way.
Here's the other thing.
So-
If you remember on SmackDown, that could play into it if you go with the AJ. AJ came out and said, well, you know, I'm here. I'm fucking working my ass off. And where's Seth? He's on a bloody movie set. He's not going to be ready. So you could play it in, like, because Seth's been filming and stuff, if he does take the loss, which therefore doesn't take away from his momentum because, hey, you had to go off to do movies, you know. You had to make a choice.
Yep.
You weren't ready. You weren't ready for me. I know that's Asuka's line. You weren't ready for Asuka, but you weren't ready for AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So it could. See, there's a few ways it could play there, you know. And you know, but like I agree with that's a thing too, Stage. That's why I think Seth has definitely earned it. And AJ, you know, as phenomenal as he is, you're not wrong. He doesn't have the instinct to elevate the belt, but yeah, he would be a good gatekeeper, you know. And he does give it significance because of his career, in the sense, like, as I said, you can't really go wrong. Seth just obviously elevates it a bit more. But yeah, I think that's the way I would do it. As much as I want Sethy to win, I probably would go with AJ just to get Cody over to SmackDown without having to have Cody win Money in the Bank. Because I'd love to see someone else win Money in the Bank, whether that's someone upcoming. I can't really call LA Knight up and coming because I think he's near 40 himself. But he needs to be justified, man. Like, he can wrestle. He's a great talker. You don't want him, obviously, to be the guy to beat Roman, but you could easily see him win Money in the Bank and give him a world title run, you know. He's been a world champion everywhere else he's been. Did he end up, I don't know if he did. He didn't win the NXT title, did he?
No.
No, he didn't win the NXT title, but everywhere else he's been Impact World Champion. I think he's been World Champion, Ring of Honor, Hollywood Wrestling, etc., etc. He needs a fair shake before it's too late. Because, as I said, he is up around that 40 mark. And he's still a great in-ring talent. So, yeah. I mean, I could see him winning Money in the Bank. But you need to do something with him more than what they're doing. You know, it's all right to have him just turn up on a show and come out and do, yeah, like Austin and, you know, do his shtick, but he's got no direction. This would actually give him some direction. You could actually do something with it. And the man,
Do you mean he needs a story?
Yes, he needs a story. Yeah, you know, I thought by now they would have had him with one of the middle championship. I thought he would have had the Intercontinental or the US Championship by now.
I'm about to say the U.S. Championship I can see, but Intercontinental is just Gunther's been such a another one of those dudes who's just been on a run. It's like, no, we can't touch this.
Not at the moment, no. But I mean,
Yeah,
they
not
had
at
an
the
opportunity to probably do it even before they put the belt on Gunther, but they just, they haven't done anything really with him since they brought him up to the main roster. I mean, his thing with Bray was cool, but once that was
he
over,
made that shit. He made that shit, bro.
Once that was over and done with, it's like every week now I watch him, and I love to see him because he is one of my favourites, but they're just, the poor bugger's just, there's just no direction there with him. It's like they don't know what to do with him, and I worry that he's just not going to win any damn title on the roster, and he's going to be another one that's future endeavoured in the next couple of years, because they're like AEW. They've got a bloating of talent. And it's bound to come, especially I've been reading about it since this whole Endeavour, you know, bought them out and merged and everything. There's going to be some cuts. And I just fear that if they don't start doing something with him, then he's going to be one of the unfortunates that you sit back. You know, you see a lot of the cuts and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But then there's sometimes that they do cuts and you're like, what the fuck? Like, when they did it with Braun Strowman, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, that caught me off guard too.
even with Bray Wyatt too, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? So yeah, they need to do something with him, or yeah, he's gonna go. And I mean, like, a good thing is, hey, he's got Ring of Honor, he's got Impact, he's got AEW, he's got Japan, he's got options, but it'd just be a sad way to see him go out. I think one person I do see getting cut though, because they really don't know how to use him, is Mr. TikTok, man. I think he's gone when the cuts come around. I really do.
Austin Theory?
No, TikTok. He's always TikTok. TikTok, you know.
Oh, Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
Karrion Kross.
He was great on the indie scene, but WWE has turned him into a bit of a laughable joke. They don't have any idea how to use him, and he already got cut once. But I have a very, very strong feeling he's gone. When they do the next cuts, he's out the door. He's gone because they don't know what to do with him at all. They don't even give him enough mic time, and he can actually talk on a microphone. But yeah, you're probably never going to get to see that in WWE. But that's
I'm gonna say after that, like Adam Cole won, it was kind of oof.
Yeah, you're not wrong, bro. All right, so moving on, obviously, to the second pay-per-view that will be taking place, and the first one, because I think it airs slightly earlier on the 28th, which will be followed by Double or Nothing, obviously, but is Battleground, NXT's pay-per-view, which is also, this is straight-out Triple H booking too, only got the 5 matchups. So we'll start with the first one, which is, I think, is going to be from a brutal kind of, side of things. It's going to be good. Dragunov versus Dijak, boys. Who we thinking? Who we thinking? In a last man standing match.
Give me Dragunov.
Yeah. I think Dragunov myself. How about you, Paul?
Yeah, I'm right there. Yeah.
I think it'll be a good match. I think they're going to beat the crap out of each other. I loved what I seen on NXT last week, what Dijak was doing to him. I think that added to the story, and Dragunov going pretty much in his own words. Is that all you got? I love Payne. He's another one like old mate that's been brought up to to the main roster now. The Irish Ace. They both love Payne, thrive off it. So it's just going to be a brutal match. Then you got, of course, the triple threat match for the North American Championship. Wesley defending against Tyler Bate and Joe Gacy. You know what I think, boys, before I get your opinions? I actually think Tyler Bate's going to turn on Wesley in this match. And I think Joe Gacy walks out as the champ. He's going to sneak in, sneaky pin, and Wes has had the belt for a while now. And I'm just getting this feeling now might be the time he drops it. What's your thoughts, Josh?
I thought about this one too. This is tough. Give me Wesley. I'm not betting on Wes. I'm not betting against Wesley.
All right, you think he retains? All right. How about you, Paul?
I was gonna, you're talking about, him turning on, a triple threat. It always turns out to be, every man for himself. No matter how much they want to work together, it ends up being every man for himself. So, I mean, I agree with you in the sense that it's time for Wesley to drop the belt, but I also think that there's a good chance that they're going to let him keep it.
Yeah.
I don't follow NXT enough to really know the stories very well. But...
It's a hard one, but I think that after last week's NXT, I just get this feeling that the seeds have been planted. I think Tyler Bate's going to go heel. I think he's going to turn on Wesley in that match, just like Joe Gacy's predicted. He's like, yeah, he's lying to your face. He's not really your friend, And I think Joe's going to capitalise on it. Yeah. They've been building Joe Gacy up for a while, and he needs a title to really push him to that next level. And I think he's going to just be that one that capitalises on a situation. I'm not going to predict who he's going to pin out of the two. We all know in these matches that the champ doesn't need to even be pinned. But I think something goes down, there's a miscalculate or mistiming on something, like Wes and Tyler are teaming up trying to take Joe down, and then they start going at it, and so it'll be interesting. The next match on the card, it's the British Rounds Rules match for the NXT UK Heritage Cup. I think this possibly has the chance to steal the show. Noam Dar versus Dragon Lee. These two men are extremely talented in the ring. I think it'll be match of the night for this pay-per-view. I really do. I think as much as it's really hard for me to choose here because Dar's been the Heritage Cup champion for so long. That's his baby. I mean, he's the originator of it too. But you can't have Dragon Lee build up a bunch of losses after you've brought him in either. And I think maybe Dragon Lee comes out on top in this match.
I'm going Dragon Lee too.
Yeah. How about you, Paul?
I'll just go with you guys on this one. I don't know either one of those guys.
No, that's all right.
Dragon Lee is like fire, bro.
Yeah, Dragon Lee is one of the younger brothers of AEW's Roosh.
Oh, he is the younger brother of Roosh.
Yes, and so is the other, just space on his name, the other one that's teamed up with Roosh in AEW. That's the youngest of them all. Dragon Lee's the middle child.
Oh, yeah, nah, Dragon Lee, like, just look up some of his AAA footage on YouTube.
And if you
like, Dragon Lee is like, whoo.
If you can't tell that, I know he wears a mask, but look at his mouth. He has he has the exact same smile as Roosh. Exact same smile. That's how you can tell easily that they're brothers. I'm like, yeah, there it is. All right. The tournament finals. Now, obviously, we don't know. That's going to be decided on NXT this week.
Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez.
Cora Jade taking on Lyra Valkyria, and you've got Roxanne taking on Tiffany Stratton.
I'm going Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going with Cora Jade.
I'm going to be indifferent here. I'm going to pick Lyra Valkyria taking on Tiffany Stratton. For the
I do want Tiffany to get her shine, but I think Cora Jade is going to win it all. Because Roxanne's already been champ.
Roxanne has, yeah. I think it's not going to be Roxanne. I think the finals are going to. Why I think Tiffany over. Why I'd have her there. Well, Lyra will be there if Roxanne isn't, because if Tiffany goes over her, obviously she won't be there. Lyra then would have to go over Cora, so you've got the heel going up against the babyface. All right, because I wouldn't go Stratton against Jade. They're both heels. Tiffany Stratton is not only better on. In my opinion, Cora Jade might be better on the microphone than her, but Cora Jade can't touch Tiffany Stratton in that ring. Cora Jade is as green as hell for a wrestler. That's what I don't like about her. I thought she would have had a lot more improvement by now, and she really hasn't. Like, she's as green as Jade from AEW.
Oh yeah, I remember watching some of her matches recently where you can tell. Yeah, it's really
Lyra. I think, and they've been building Lyra up. They were building her up with all her vignettes, but leading into when they brought her in, and Tiffany is probably the biggest and best heel in the females at the moment, I would say, down in NXT. So I think those two women deserve their shine. So I'm going to go with, I'll go against you. I'm going to go with Tiffany taking on Lyra, and I have Tiffany taking it out. I don't think Roxanne or Cora will make the final. But, you know, I could be proven wrong. You guys, Cora might get through and go against Roxanne, which to me just seems like the typical match because obviously they got that history, I suppose. But that just seems too obvious for me. So that's why I was like, no, this whole time when it came down to these four, I picked Lyra to win their match and I picked Tiffany to win their match. I think they need it more than Cora Jade or Roxanne needs it, those other two women. And yeah, I think it's time for a heel champion. The last two champions have obviously been babyface, Roxanne followed by Indy. So Tiffany, yeah, I think Tiffany. I think it's her time.
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if Tiffany wins because I'm a big Tiffany Stratton fan. Like you said, like Tiffany Stratton is next up for the women's division. So she does have to get a little better on the mic. And she's also admitted to things. Like that's why I like her. She admits that I have things I need to work on. So that's why she said I'm staying in NXT for a little bit more.
I should be in there for at least another year. I reckon until the next draft. Then they might bring her up. But as I said, her in-ring ability is well above Cora Jade's. She just needs her mic work to catch up. And it will. It will. It'll come in time. All right, moving on to the main event. The big one, which I think we're all going to be in agreement here. Carmelo
Mello.
against Big Papa Pump Bron Breakker.
Wow.
I'm calling him that because, my God, ever since he's turned heel, he just reminds me so much of his uncle. He even sounds like his uncle over his father. So I'm calling him the Big Papa Pump Jr. Carmelo's got this in the bag. They're not taking the title off him. I think this is Bron Breakker's last match in NXT too. And then he'll be coming up to the main roster. I know he wasn't in the draft, but I think he's ready for the main roster. He doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be in NXT anymore.
It's time for Braun to graduate anyway.
Yep. I think it'll be again. It'll be another one up there. All these last three matches, I think, are going to be the best on the show. To be quite honest, but yeah, Carmelo's just. I was about to say Trick Williams. Carmelo's just starting his championship reign, and yeah. I think they'll have a fantastic match, but in the end, Carmelo will come out on top. And as I said, Bron will probably say goodbye to the NXT universe and make his way on up. Again, now, this could play in. See, that you could do this. So if we go with AJ winning, right? So they have to bring those four across. Then you send Cody and a female across from Raw, and you bring Bron Breakker up to SmackDown. So that'll be 3 to counteract the 4 coming across to Raw from SmackDown. Yeah, there you go. The problem solved with numbers, because obviously you don't want to leave SmackDown too depleted on the numbers, of talent on there. I know Raw's got the bigger roster just because they've got the extra hour, but you still need the talent there, and that'll be good because, especially if they keep Bron as a heel, you're gonna need a big bad heel to kind of take over once Roman finally goes off into the sunset for a little while, does some movies and takes a break. And Bron Breakker would be perfectly positioned to sort of fill that role alongside with Solo, I guess. Those can be the two big nasty heels kind of thing on the brand. So yeah, it'd be interesting. And of course, the last pay-per-view, we've got almost 10 hours of wrestling this weekend. 10 hours. That's fantastic.
Lord.
AEW,
and I'm there for all of it.
AEW's Double or Nothing. I love that.
It's going to be the longest show, too.
It is. It's got 9 matches. 9. So obviously we will start with the 6-man tag match, right? That if Hardy Party wins, Matt Hardy will own Ethan Page's contract. So you got Ethan Page and the Guns against Hardy Party. And Isaiah Cassidy.
Is the Gun Club in this match too?
Yes.
Oh my! Yeah. Give me Hardys. Like fuck it, give me the Hardys.
Well, I think the story's just going to play out that way. Ethan already had their I think it'd be funny to see them, especially with what Matt will put him through and do. I think the Hardys and Isaiah Cassidy win. How about you, Paul?
I'm hoping it's the Hardys. I got it.
Yeah. I think I don't think it'll be
old school me has to root for the Hardys. It's just that's the rules, man.
And I don't mean to put a damper on, but I think it'll be the worst match of the night.
that better be the kickoff for them.
It'll probably will. It probably will, because I don't think it'll be, compared to all the other matches on the card. Just on paper, it's definitely the worst match. The match that I kind of want to, I'll probably, even if it is the
Hardys are going to need a nap after this match. Okay?
I'll just say this, and I don't usually like saying this to either, but even if, regardless if it is the first or whatever, whenever that takes place, that's me piss break.
This better be the first match. I swear, bro.
Man, I agree with you, bro. I agree 100%. It better be. All right. Obviously, the next match, I'll go with this women's match first. Jamie Hayter defending against Toni Storm. I'm Jamie Hayter all the way. I can't stand Toni Storm.
Jamie Hayter. I'm actually surprised they didn't go Saraya, but
yeah,
it feels like they were building.
Can't stand Toni Storm. She's sloppy in the ring, and she can't talk to save her life. She may as well be a mute wrestler, but I can't stand her. She's a terrible worker. They're not gonna give her back the belt.
I'm going hater, but I'll give you a hot take. I don't care for this outsider storyline at all, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't care. They should have just pulled the trigger on Britt Breaker and Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
Haters, I'm with the same hater because you're right. Tony doesn't deserve to have the belt. She's not a good
worker.
She's not
at
a
all.
good person to.
No.
She's not a good person to have it because
No.
she like you said, she's lazy. She doesn't do her,
Out of that trio of the outsiders, she's the worst of the bunch, easily.
Yeah.
The other two could outwork her in their sleep. They really carry her. In fact, I hope when her contract's up, she's gone because she's one of the worst in that women's division alongside Jade Cargill. And if Jade doesn't start improving, I'd boot her the hell out too because
they can't improve her till she fucking wrestle.
Well, yeah. Which brings me to the next women's match. Her against Taya Valkyrie.
Taya Valkyrie?
They better. I'm telling you, my God, they better. They've got her to 60. That's good, well and good. You better have Taya Valkyrie beating her ass.
It's Jade. It's gonna be Jade.
No, I think Taya all day. I think
they're
built to this.
I can tell you why it's not gonna be her because they're building the Chris Statlander.
That's if she returns. I've been reading the story. She's in a similar situation to Randy Orton.
It as far as we know, it's Chris Statlander. And they are not. This is why the Jade shit is ass because it just can't work because you're betting on one person to come back, and it's like, we don't know Statlander's situation.
That's exactly. That's why I'm picking Taya because it works, especially if there's no rule in this match that Taya, who was using the finisher first, can use that finisher.
This will be the shortest match of the night.
I think. I would love to see them completely squash Jade Cargill. That's just me. She's another one like Toni Storm. I don't like her. She should have shown some sort of improvement by now. She hasn't. I think she's as lazy as Toni Storm. Rode the coattails of Shaquille O'Neal just to even get a job. I think it's time because people are completely over and sick of her. She's got to drop the title. That title, with her holding it, needs to go in the title.
The title is meaningless. Period.
Yeah, it needs to go in the garbage bin. It really does. Eventually, I'd like to see him combine the women's titles at some point, but they
can't do that. They got way too many people to combine the titles.
But other than that, it's definitely time. What do you think, Paul?
I got to go with Taya on this one.
Yeah, I think it's time. The perfect opportunities now. It's believable. You're not going to have someone tiny defeat her. You're going to have someone that matches her on size. And
see, some of this I don't get because I'm the type of guy that if I was doing this stuff, I'd be like, hey, if you're not going to work for this crap, we're not going to let you hang on to the title.
No, seriously, I would. If I'm Tony Khan, I really grill her because there's been reports come out she's not liked in the dressing room with the other women. She's got a bad attitude, and she's lazy. That's also come out. A very lazy worker. Take the title off her and then boot her out of the company because you are not doing anything to elevate this women's division. You have a great look. I won't take that away from her. You have a great look.
If he wants to be anything like he uses WCW as his blueprint, he needs to learn that grief in the dressing room causes nothing but trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's part of what destroyed WCW was grief in the dressing room.
Exactly. So she's another one that's just. The talent's just not there whatsoever. There is so many females on that roster that's above her, including Taya. It's time before it just. I mean, it's already well and truly stale. It really is. People don't even care for it. I think
We don't.
that just that's another one when it comes to she only really defends that on Rampage when she does defend it, and when it comes time for her to actually defend
It's
it,
a squash match.
Yeah.
This entire
With
run
nobody.
has been just bona fide squash matches.
with
The
absolute
best match
nobody.
probably came from Athena.
Yeah.
And that's not saying, I'm not trying to be rude, but that's not saying much because Athena's a hell of a wrestler and a worker, but it's just like, dog, you're banking on Chris Statlander. And don't get me wrong, I love Chris Statlander just as much as the next person. But this has to change because Jade hasn't wrestled anybody outside of Athena and Taya, and maybe Nyla, but that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. She needs to go. And it needs to take the belt off of her. And like you said, John, it's really compared to the actual AEW Women's Champion, it's really a joke of a title, really. But I suppose if they're doing this whole roster split, then they kind of still need that, I guess. And you've got a lot of women on that roster, so they obviously need to have two. So next match, Wardlow defending against Christian in a ladder match for the TNT Championship.
Christian.
You think Christian's going to come out on top?
Because Wardlow hasn't been able to catch fire since NJF.
Yeah. That's true. I think he needs a bit more work.
Plus, the TNT title needs a hard reset. They need a reset on that thing.
Yeah. I'm going the same. I think Christian could really elevate that title. He's a great worker. He's good on the mic. This heel character is really working for him. Like, you love the little sniveling little bastard that, as Stone Cold would call him. You need that. He does that so well. And I think this could lead if you get the belt on him, revisit him and Jungle Boy, and Jungle Boy beats him for it later down the line a bit. How about you, Paul? Do you see Wardlow retaining, or do you think Christian Cage is...
I have trouble rooting for anybody with a guy named Luchasaurus next to him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Plus, the old school me has to root for Arn Anderson. I'm sorry. It's the rules.
With Arn Anderson, yeah. Well, I think Arn Anderson might take Luchasaurus out of the equation, but I think Christian still...
Yeah, I think so too.
Christian finds a way to win, whether that's by low blow or something. He'll cheat to win.
Yeah. But I would not be surprised if Wardlow hangs on to this, just because, if anything, Arn brings the experience to the side of the ring. Yeah,
that's true. All right, next matchup, FTR defending their tag team titles against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, with Mark Briscoe serving as the special guest referee. Now this one,
FTR, this is pointless. This is fucking pointless. Most of these matches have been pointless.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna go Jay and Jeff.
You're going Jeff Jarrett?
Wait.
Wait, I was going to go Jeff Jarrett too. I'm sorry.
Mark Briscoe's going to cost FTR the match. They've already set that up with the last outing where Dax...
You know what?
Dax...
I don't like neither, though. I think Jeff Jarrett is cooked, but FTR can put on a great match, but then again, it was with the Briscoes. But it's like, Jeff Jarrett, fuck it.
No, I would usually pick FTR, but I think that story is there because of what went down between Dax and Mark. I mean, I know Dax was, storyline purposes, was blinded, but he took down Mark Briscoe, and I think it set it up there. And I think, from a storyline perspective, Jay Lethal being his best friend is going to basically piss in his ear. He'll turn. Anytime there's a bloody special guest referee, usually they turn on bloody someone, and it's going to be him turning on FTR, I think, costing them the titles. Because Jeff Jarrett said he'd accept being a tag team champion when he came into AEW, but he doesn't want to be anywhere. Tony was talking about trying to get the world title on him. He goes, no. He's the one who turned around and goes, nope, it's young man sport. He goes, I'll accept being a tag champ, but I don't want the TNT championship. He's not at the stage in his career. He wants to help elevate people and put people over. He doesn't want to take away. So I'm okay.
Okay, so all right. I'll say it. What was the point of taking this off of the Acclaim if you were just going to only put it on Jeff Jarrett in FTR? FTR only had the belt for like a month.
They have yeah, I know.
So what was the point of this?
I don't know. They haven't really built this up outside of them fight. It's funny. They're not really even fighting over the belts. They're fighting over Mark Briscoe. He's my friend. He's our friend, you know. So yeah, I think again, like I agree with you, Josh. It is pointless, but yeah, it's. I think they'll win. I think Mark Briscoe turns, costs them the match, does a fast count. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal get a run with the tag titles. I think they'll just be holdover champs though. Like they're not going to hold them for very long.
So who's next? Who will be next? The Acclaim again? Because they just go back to the point. Like, what was the point of taking the belt off of them?
No. I think it might actually be the Lucha Bros. Because they're being built back up again. They're probably the most likely team now heading back up in that direction. And it's been a minute since they've had the AEW Tag Team Championship. Yes, they had the Trios Championship with Park, but they haven't had the AEW World Tag Team Championships for a while. So I would pick them to possibly, and they're baby faces right now. I'd pick them to beat Jeff and Jay. If not, then maybe the Acclaimed again. But I probably wouldn't go in that direct. I love the Acclaimed, but it might be a little bit too soon for them to get the belts back. And like you said, it would kind of be pointless. You'd be like, well, what was the point in all this? So if it was someone else, then it's still as much as pointless as all this has been, really. At least it, have a little bit better feeling to it. Next match.
I have a question because I'm looking at the match lineups, and it also says that Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh are going to be out there with Jeff and Jay as well.
Yes.
So I mean, there's a lot of action that could happen in this match.
Exactly. So the next match we'll speculate on is the Blackpool Combat Club. Danielson, Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler taking on the Elite in an Anarchy in the Arena match.
No, this is a good one.
This is probably going to be one of the matches of the night for sure.
I'm going Blackpool.
You going Blackpool? Yeah?
Yeah. I think they're going to run it back. I think the Elite will beat them in blood and guts. I'm going Blackpool to win the Anarchy.
I think... Oh, it's so tough. I'm going to go the Elite. I think the Blackpools had their number leading into this a bit too much. Up until Dynamite last week was the first time that you actually seen the Elite come out on top in the little battles. So I'm leaning towards the Elite. However, in saying that, I'm just going to add, I do expect Don Callis to play a role in this match.
I agree.
So if the Blackpool Combat Club wins, it'll be because of him. How about you, Paul?
I was gonna, before you say, I was gonna go with the Elite too for this one.
Yeah, you're gonna say the Elite as well. Yep.
Yeah. I think they're gonna come out on top by the time this is all over with.
Yeah. The only thing I would have liked to seen, we know he's coming, but we just don't know when. I would have preferred not to see Hangman in there with him. I would have preferred to see Kota Ibushi. Maybe if they lose here, then that's when they bring in Kota for the, like you said, Josh, the blood and guts. Because Kota, my God, Kota Ibushi has this, he goes into this mode. You've probably seen it, where he just goes berserk. Absolutely berserk, like killer berserk. To the point it nearly looks like he's seriously seriously fucking people up. And he would work so well in a match like that. So yeah, I think at some point he's going to come into it. So yeah, this could go either way in reality. That's why it's such a hard match to really speculate and choose, because it could go either way. But I'll stick with the Elite. Orange Cassidy defending his belt in a 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal for the International Championship.
Somebody but Orange Cassidy.
So you think somebody other than Orange will win it?
Yeah, I think they're going to plan to get the belt off Orange Cassidy.
What do you think, Paul? I'm thinking Orange retains at the moment. I don't think he loses it until it's a one-on-one or a triple threat or something like that, really.
No, I could see him losing it that night. I couldn't say to who, because we have 17 to be determined.
Yeah, we do. We got 17 to be determined. The only other people we know that are in the match is Aaron Solo. He ain't winning it. QT Marshall definitely sure as hell ain't winning it. And Powerhouse Hobbs, which I could see Powerhouse Hobbs winning it, but...
But since you already took the fucking TNT belt off of him.
Yeah, I could see him winning it, but yeah, you don't know who those other 17 are. So I dare say, like, the Lucha Brothers aren't on the card, so they might be a part of it. Who else have you got that could be in there? Are they on the card at all? I'm just having a look here. No, they're not. The House of Black would probably be all in. Now, there's someone I could see actually winning it. Not Alistair, that's his WWE name. Malachi Black. Malachi Black.
I can see that.
If he's in it, I could see him taking it out. The only reason I'm picking for him...
Are we going to find out? Are we going to find out the rest of that card this week? Or
I dare say.
Yeah, definitely. That's how AEW.
But the only reason I think he'll retain is it's not often you see like a battle royal with a championship on the line type of matches with the champ going in losing it. You usually see them still retaining a good 9 times out of 10. But anything.
Well, that's why it'd be a good time to see him lose it, because then it'd be not expected.
Not expected. That's the only reason I'm choosing him, because I'm like, he's in the Battle Royal. I'm kind of expecting him just to keep it on him. Maybe he keeps it until Forbidden Door. And then, you know what? Actually, that's why I think he's going to retain it, because he'll have a one-on-one match with that young fella from Aussie Open, and he might be the guy to beat him. Because he's on a bit of a streak not in AEW, but New Japan. His star's on the rise. I actually think would be better off in reality, since they just dropped, not dropped, they gave up the tag titles, split him from being in a tag team, and sent him skyrocketing on a solo career. Because I actually think he may, what's his name, Kyle Fletcher, he could end up being bigger and better than the captain of the ship, so to speak. So I think he might be, but he could even be in this match. He might even be in this match. If he's in this match, maybe they go with him coming out on top. Who knows? Who else is there? Jay White will be in the match. He's not in another match.
Jay White's not fighting Ricky Starks?
No, he's not on the card at all.
What?
No. So I think Jay White and Ricky Starks.
This is one of the weirdest double or nothings in a long time.
Jay White and Ricky Starks will probably more than likely be one of the 17, I say.
Interesting.
And if they are, again, there's 2 other guys that could win it too. But yeah, I think I just have this feeling they're going to keep it on Orange Cassidy until it's a one-on-one situation or a triple threat situation, possibly. What else have we got here? Oh,
the 4-way match. Have we done that?
Well, no, that's the main event. Adam Cole versus Jericho in an unsanctioned match. Adam Cole all day long.
Adam Cole. Well, then again, Chris Jericho doesn't always usually lose.
You know what? It's Adam Cole. I'll pick Adam
They're
Cole.
building him back up, and Jericho doesn't really need the rub or the win. It's got to be Adam Cole, especially because Britt Baker had that stoush with MJF on Twitter and said, "Enjoy the title while you still can," because my man's coming for it. Adam Cole going over Chris Jericho instantly, in my opinion, puts him next in line.
That might be the next. He might be the plan because I've been hearing things of that. Their thing with their schedule basing off MJF is not wrestling every week is killing them.
Yep.
Because this is not a WWE's audience. This is a wrestling audience.
I think Adam Cole beats Jericho, and then Adam Cole beats MJF for the title at Wembley.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
Yep. How about you, Paul? You think he's going over Jericho?
I could do that, but part of me wants to root for Jericho just because I'm a big Chris Jericho fan. Always have been.
Yeah. See, I think obviously the JAS will get involved in this. I also think obviously Roderick Strong's going to come down and get involved. I think I know he's nearing being ready. Kyle might be back as well, and he'll come running down and help out Adam Cole as well. So yeah, a few people will get involved.
They've been setting this up for weeks with Jericho. They've been
Britt Baker probably might even get involved. Who knows? But yeah, so I think Adam Cole comes out on top, and then of course the main event, which I think has the opportunity to absolutely steal the show with these four young men, the fatal four-way between MJF, Sammy, Jungle Boy, and Darby. Obviously, I'm picking MJF to retain. Bit too soon to take the title off of him. And out of the other three guys, they're still building themselves up. I don't think they're ready to be champion right now. I think they all can be champion one day. I just don't think right now is their time. And as I said, I think Adam Cole's going to be the one to
MJF.
Yeah, MJF. You think this?
MJF, but you were saying that the others aren't really ready to be champion. I know Jungle Boy's not. He's got a lot of work to do.
He has no promo skills.
I mean, Sammy's got promo and the rest, but I just don't think he's ready to just make that.
I think Sammy's
he's too immature.
It's
Darby. Darby's the closest.
Darby would be the closest out of those three.
Sammy's too. Trust me, Paul. People do not like Sammy. He is way into immature. They have tried with Sammy numerous times. They do not like that nigga.
Apologize recently to
Renee.
Well, yeah, that was one, but no, he had to apologize to. What's his name? Because he was gonna knock.
Andrade.
No. He's now over on Ring of Honor exclusively now because he basically quit AEW.
Eddie Kingston.
Yes, Eddie
there
Kingston.
You go. Yep.
Eddie Kingston was
the fat joke. Yeah, I remember.
Eddie Kingston was gonna knock his teeth down his throat. Like seriously, was gonna knock his teeth down his throat. And Sammy, I do commend Sammy. He is trying now. I think, especially when you see this behind the scene all access show, he's had a tough life. So I can understand, once he sort of got the limelight and that, and still being young, it's all gone to his head and he got cocky and brash had a bit of a chip on his shoulder. I get that because he comes from literal nothing. He's Mr. Subway. He's Mr. Subway. But
He grew up in Katy, Texas. He's not a really bad area. But
no, it's not a bad. No. It's not a bad area. What I mean is he came from nothing though. Like he didn't come from a rich family. He wasn't a preppy or.
No. He just came from a working class family.
But he was working at Subway and doing the hard yards and that, and so I can understand a little bit that he kind of went to his head a little bit. But that's why I like this all access show. You get good behind the scenes with a lot of these guys, and he's starting to mature. He's not there yet, but he's starting to mature. He went and manned up and apologized for a lot of his wrongdoings. He knew that he wasn't liked by at least a good half of that locker room. because of the way he had been acting and his actions. So, and he's still young. I actually think...
I was going to say, a lot of that comes with growing up. A lot of that just comes with growing up.
No, Jack Perry might be slightly younger than Sammy. I was about to say Sammy might be the youngest, but I think Jack might be the youngest in this match.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Sammy was born in 1993, so... Yeah, he just...
And when was Jack Perry born?
Hang on.
90. I'm going to say 90...
96?
97. 97.
97? Oh, I was close.
Yeah, you were close. So, yeah, he's the youngest at 25.
Yep.
Yeah, so, Sammy, as I said, he's starting to... It's probably going to be a few years before he even gets an opportunity, really, to be considered as a top-line champion.
I didn't know Jungle Boy was Luke Perry's kid.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he is. That's because he looks a lot more like his mum. Like, you can see Luke Perry. You can see Luke Perry in him, but he does look a lot like his mum. He's got his mum's hair and everything as well. He's got his dad's eyes. I can see that. But yeah, and his dad was very, very supportive up until his death. He was at every damn show that Jack was on.
That was one of the reasons why he wanted to be known as Jungle Boy instead of Jungle Boy Jack Perry, because of the whole his father.
But now that he's being looked at,
sweat Nuggets beat him. The Nuggets sweep them.
No, I think that's why now he more goes by Jack Perry, because he's trying to be taken a little bit more serious and move away from the whole Jungle Boy thing now.
Right.
And he's kind of gone like Jungle Boy's more of just the nickname now. But yeah, that'll slowly even go away. He'll just be known as Jack Perry, which is cool. I mean, especially
because he might be looking to move up into like WWE and stuff, which means he's gonna probably want to lose the whole Jungle Boy thing at some point.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, that entrance of his is so over. They sing away to that like they sing away to Seth's music, but you don't even need to change that. That's just music. But yeah, he's trying to be taken more serious. He's been taken more serious since he had the matchups with Christian. That really elevated him. So he just has to work on his mic skills, even though he's come out and said he kind of hates that side of the wrestling. But he's got to do it if he wants to be on TV. But yeah, and Sammy's a ways off to himself. Darby's there, but Darby ain't the one who's going to beat MJF. Darby will be one of the next in line after Adam Cole has his, because Adam Cole needs to have that championship run. In my eyes, there's no bigger name in that company out of the men other than Adam Cole. I think he's even bigger name than Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, John Moxley. He's the most over. He can put asses in seats. People love him. Fans love him. They loved him in WWE. I think Triple H was a bit pissed off with Vince that they let him walk out the door, and that went down. Because that was his guy. And I mean, obviously it's worked out for AEW, but yeah, that's where I think this is leading. That's why I think Cole goes over Jericho, MJF retains. They head to Wembley, big stage, and they put on a hellacious match, and Adam Cole comes out on top, sends the fans home happy.
It's time for. I think the MJF run was a little nice experiment, but it's time.
Yeah,
it didn't work out.
They've had him for a few months. It's not like you can say that he's had a short run either. He's had it for a bit now, but like you said, it is killing them where he's not. It in the same way that it's kind of killing, but just not obviously to the same extent. But it's killing WWE not having Roman wrestling. Yep. Same sort of situation here. The one cave for Roman is he's already established and got that name and recognition. See, whereas MJF, whilst he's known to the indie fans, he's not really known to the greater audience. This has helped him. People know who he is now. I think people love his heel character, but I think they're not going to do the same. They're not going to do no real long title runs in AEW. I don't think they'll copy WWE like that. I think he's had enough time with the championship. I think it's time for a change. But let him get through this, and then he can drop it at. I don't even know if that he'll have a match at Forbidden Door. If he does, obviously, because that's before the Wembley show, he'll retain there unless he's in a tag match. Obviously, he won't be defending if he's in a tag match. But I think have him drop it at the Wembley show because it'll make it a bigger deal for Adam Cole, and hopefully will give AEW the boost to carry that momentum then. Forward. But again, that as we've all discussed, and it's going to be hard right at this time, like you said, Josh, but they need riders. They need riders badly. But, I mean, I think, personally, with this show, I think they could have cut it down to 7 match. Like, honestly, I think Ethan Page and the Gun, they could go on a pre-show. I really wouldn't have had them on the main card. The Taya Valkyrie Jade match I probably would have had on a pre-show. I wouldn't have had it on the main card. Yeah. Those
you mentioned it earlier, but the WGA strike probably does affect wrestling. Because these guys, some of the writers probably are in the guild.
Yeah. I think Jericho does a little bit of writing for him.
Yeah.
I know he's a part of creative. I just don't know to obviously what extent, but I do know he is a part of creative.
But I mean, it could come down and affect. It could affect all of them actually, WWE and AEW and all that.
Yeah. And like Josh said too, Brian Danielson. Sorry, he's just entered into the creative side of things too, which I think is going to be beneficial because, as I said, he was held in high regard in WWE when he was doing that. So. That's what I mean.
The only one good thing they have going for them is, like we mentioned earlier too, some of this stuff is scripted out for at least a few weeks or months.
Yeah. As I said, Tony can put
a
nice card together, but he needs to delegate in the sense that for so long now since they started this company, he's tried to do basically everything, and it's just too much for one person, and it's showing. It's very telling, like. That while their in-ring product, I think, is better than WWE's, their storytelling is so lackluster. That's what kills them. And you're not drawing in enough people. You're only really drawing in the hardcore that have mainly watched a lot of the indie and New Japan and love that style.
The AEW audience is the New Japan audience, the Ring of Honor audience, the WCW audience, and the Impact audience. That is basically their audience.
And the funny thing is,
4 different promotions all rolled into one.
The funny thing is, though, and I think I've said this before, Impact Wrestling has better storylines because they got better.
That too. Yo, I'm about to say, people knocked that Aces and 8 storyline, bro. That was the best TNA storyline ever.
Oh yeah, that was really, really well done. And as I said, even though they're smaller time now, like if you tune in and watch it, their storytelling. So while AEW kills them in the in-ring product, their storytelling kills AEW's, and they're smaller scale. Scott D'Amore is even a part of the crowd, and I mean he can write with his eyes closed. Great storylines. So that's what I think. I think they need, if ever he wants to bloody acquire something else, Tony, I reckon acquire Impact and get their right, get their riders.
Don't acquire Impact.
No, just acquire Impact to get their library and to get.
Oh, the library
and to get.
Well, no, he's not going to do that either because that's what people were trying to tell him to do with Ring of Honor, but he didn't listen.
No, but also to get in their writers because he'll bring in Scott D'Amore and the other guys that are writing for Impact Wrestling. And we might actually get some decent freaking storytelling in AEW then. That's the only reason I would want him to acquire Impact. Not even really for any of the wrestlers over there. It's just for the writers and for the tape library.
Can we borrow your writer's room? Can we borrow your writer's room?
Yeah, can we just purchase your writer's room and then, Anthem just closes up shop them on Impact. Because it's just, I mean, they've got a couple of good talent, obviously, formerly known as Naomi, but Trinity's over there now, and they've got a couple other good females there. They've got a couple of good male wrestlers there, but Josh Alexander and the Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann and Sammy Callahan. But yeah, unfortunately they just don't have the talent. But they are smaller time now. They really are very indie now, and you can tell that just by the show, the quaint setting of their shows and stuff like that. Smaller audience. But yeah, the only thing as I said before we go into our outros here, the only thing I don't like about this AEW pay-per-view compared to the other two, I thought the other two had a nice number of matchups. I think this is too bloated with 9 matches.
Wait, hold up, back up. You think the other pay-per-views weren't bloated before?
No. I'm said the other two that we just talked about tonight. That
okay.
Yeah, 5 matchups.
I miss her.
Yeah.
I miss her. I apologize.
No. You're right.
I was like, bro, these matches from AEW pay-per-views have always been big as hell.
I don't know why they feel the need to do they could get away, as I said, with having the main event. I would have had that on the card. The Orange Cassidy 21 Battle Royal, that's fine to have on the card, I think. You have to have one of the women. You don't need both of them, just one of them. The Blackpool versus the Elite, obviously, and Adam Cole versus Jericho. They could have got away with that. They don't really need the FTR, Jeff Jarrett. They don't really need the Wardlow, Christian Cage. They don't really need... they definitely don't need the Ethan Page and the Guns versus the Hardy match. There's 3 matches, so what? That'd cut it back down to 6. Then take off Jade and Taya, so you got 5. Like the Battleground and Night of Champions. Just give a bit, and that then also gives a bit more time for some of these other matches. Like, obviously, your Battle Royal, because it's a Battle Royal, that'll go for a little bit, I'd imagine.
Did they say, they probably going to announce way more matches come Wednesday, so, because that's how they normally operate. But did they say anything about possibly a Joker being in the,
Well, I haven't mentioned, but again, we got a Dynamite beforehand, so maybe.
Yeah, they're definitely going to do something.
You know what? It's called the AEW International Championship. I would love to see Kota Ibushi enter it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking you might get somebody that we did not expect to.
Yeah, Kota Ibushi or Will Ospreay comes in and wins it, and holds it until. Actually, probably holds it and retains. If he was to win it, holds it and retains it at because we already know he's already put his hand up and put it out there that he will be at the Wembley show in a match. What a homecoming to come over there with the International Championship, defended on his home turf. And they got a close relationship with New Japan, so it works.
They better have a close relationship because they stole their flow bar for bar.
Yeah. Another one you could see turn up in the 17 is Jeff Cobb. So there could be a few little surprises in there. But the biggest surprise, as I said, would be Drew McIntyre turning up for that match. I think if Drew McIntyre was one of those 17 competitors, say it gets to the end of the Dynamite and they said, there's 1 or 2 spots that are yet to be determined. You won't know who they're going to be until the pay-per-view. Drew McIntyre runs out, man, that place they'll damn near blow the roof.
They will erupt.
Yeah. And because we don't know what he's going to do yet. It's still out there. He's not said yes to WWE. They're still trying. They're still trying to talk to him and that.
Hey, low key, there might be. He ain't the only one that has said yes to, because a certain group of individuals known as the Elite haven't resigned yet either.
No,
as far as we know, Kenny Omega and the Bucks haven't resigned.
No,
this whole CM Punk shit going on.
Their contracts end in I think
June.
Is it June? Is it? I thought they got extensions till November.
They got an extension till November. I heard June of this next month is going to be all right, contract talks. But it could be yours. It could be yours too, Spook, about the whole November, because I know Kenny was out at least for those injuries. So, but listen, listen, if Kenny Omega pull up,
I think they go. I just got a gut feeling they might go to WWE. If Tony settles stuff with Punk and Punk comes back into the company, I think they go. I think the minute their contracts are up, they're gone. They've already got their friend Cody over there that'll help them get in over there. I think WWE, I don't know really about the Bucks, but they would love to have Kenny Omega over there.
Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega, it's a wrap.
But I know it's going to be hard because, I mean, again, but, you know, there was a time people didn't think Cody would ever go back there, you know, especially because he helped create this. But, hey, stranger things happened, and look what happened. And Kenny, for years and years and years, was doing the whole Sting thing. And we know Sting did it for years and years and years and years too. I'm never going there. I'm never going there. I'm not going to be a WWE. I'm never going there. And then, like Sting, he's been a bit more lenient, been a bit more open-minded now. Especially I've seen a couple of recent interviews. His body has been through the ringer.
Oh yeah, he said the next major injury he gets is GG, bro.
I'm actually surprised he's still wrestling.
And if you really think about it, the WWE style would be a lot easier. Would be a lot easier on his body. So he's only going to get one more opportunity at this. Put it this way: this contract comes up, that's his opportunity. If he doesn't take it and go, he'll never go to WWE.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to hinge. It's going to be weird too because he's completely the face of this video game and pushing it too. So I think it all hinges. And I mean, obviously he's a bit of a package deal. And I think WWE wouldn't mind having the Bucks come over there anyway, but it'd be more about Kenny Omega.
Especially if the Usos can still go.
Yeah.
Yes, I figured out the puzzle. But especially if the Usos can still go.
Yeah.
And New Day, listen, that's been a dream match for a lot of fans. New Day, Bucks, and the Usos.
Oh, there you go. So I was close. Thank you, Yobi. I was close, brother. Yeah. So it's Kenny. I think the Bucks are till November. Kenny's till December. That was the extension, yeah, because of his injuries and stuff. And then he said, which I agree with, Kenny Omega going to wrestle. So Kenny Omega could out-wrestle Roman Reigns in his sleep, bro. No joke. In his sleep. The only thing, The only thing Roman has over him is the whole... and Roman, Roman isn't even the greatest on the mic, but yeah.
That's the thing is that listen, anybody can see Roman Reigns is a very good wrestler, but he can't. There's a difference between Kenny Omega wrestling, and Roman Reigns wrestling.
Roman Reigns couldn't even out wrestle Bryan Danielson. So I mean
no. Brian Danielson might be the greatest wrestler of the modern era, but that's a different story. That's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, William Regal would definitely agree with you on that. So would I. Well, I'll put it this way: I think you'd have to put them both 1A and 1B. Kenny and Brian have to be the two greatest wrestlers currently going and of their generations. They just pure wrestling standpoint, though I don't think you can get any better than those two. And then I think not too far behind them would be Seth Rollins. I think he's not too far behind them. So he'd come in second because you got 1A and 1B there. But Yobi goes, it's people out there believe his career ain't solidified until he's at WrestleMania, which I call bullshit. Yeah, I agree, brother. Man, he done WrestleMania. He has done WrestleMania. It just wasn't called WrestleMania. It's called Wrestle Kingdom, and that's, in my opinion,
that's basically their WrestleMania.
Yeah,
shit.
It's actually, in my opinion, is bigger. They make a bigger spectacle out of it. In reality, if you've ever seen them, they really do. He's done everything he wanted in his wrestling career, and yeah, fucking proud of him. Good on you. Good on you, Yobi. So am I, bro. As I said, he's one of my favourite wrestlers, bro. Probably my favourite wrestler for quite some time. As I said, and I still critique him because, as I said, he's not terrible on the mic by any means, and he's definitely improved. But if he goes to WWE, he needs to obviously improve that more. Outside that, he's ready to go. People call it crazy for saying Kenny over Roman. Man, they're crazy for thinking otherwise.
It's not really crazy because one time I met Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I always told him, like, he asked me who's my favorite. I said it's Roman and Kenny. Those are the two.
If you put it this way, Yobi, put it this way. Roman Reigns wouldn't last 2 seconds in Japan or Mexico.
Oh yeah, no. That's a
They
different type
would
of wrestling.
boo his ass out the building because he just could not go that style, man. I'd even go as far to say, you want to hear something even crazier, Yobi? This is crazier. There's a man in WWE that's from Japan that could whoop Roman Reigns' ass in his sleep too, and that's
AJ Styles.
Nakamura.
Oh yeah.
Nakamura.
I love watching Nakamura.
He is amazing. He is amazing. He's been amazing for you. I mean, AJ Styles, yeah, too. I mean, again, wrestling talent-wise, just on a completely different level. You know, Roman's good for the WWE style, but outside that, he just, you know, he'd probably go all right in AEW, probably go all right in Impact, but outside those two, yeah. I definitely, as I said, couldn't see him getting anywhere or getting over in Mexico. I couldn't see him getting anywhere or getting over in Japan. They might eat him up a little bit, obviously, if you brought him over as this heel Roman Reigns kind of thing, but he's a power guy, but that's about it. He's just not on that talent level. You know, he wouldn't be able to hang with a Carter or a Bushi or Tanahashi or Takahashi. He just wouldn't. It's just, you know.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to be really watching his match this weekend because I want to see him actually wrestle. You know, lately we really haven't seen him.
No. I still reckon that Solo will be in the ring more than he is because that's just the way he does things. But, you know, no, you know what, though, Yobi? I think it's the other way around. I agree with you. I don't think he needs WrestleMania, but I think he would like it, you know, as he's come around a little bit, maybe as a notch, just to go, hey, yeah, you know, I got to WrestleMania. But it's not like he needs it to, you know, be any bigger than what he is. Like, what he's done outside WWE is, you know, is fantastic. He has one of the best careers that you could probably ever bloody ask for. So for people to say shit like that, it's just bonkers. It just blows my mind. WrestleMania, I'll put it this way. WrestleMania needs him more than he needs WrestleMania. Put it that way, for his career. Because obviously having him on the card for WrestleMania would blow up. You know, people are like, Kenny Omega on WrestleMania, what the hell?
Yeah, you sell out that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, especially if he was in like one of the two main events, or the main event for, you know, since they're going 2 days now. So yeah, WrestleMania needs him more than he needs WrestleMania. That's probably the shortest.
Put him with Roman in the main event, dog. Oh my God.
Yeah, or in fact, I'd go him and Seth Rollins.
You can't miss with either or. Like Roman is going to.
I don't
be
want
able
to
to
see.
hold
I don't want to see him in age. I've seen enough of that in Japan. I know WWE fans that are strict WWE fans haven't seen AJ and him. You know, do it on another pay-per-view, I guess, I suppose, if you want to, for their fans' sake. But no, I'd really want to see him and Roman, obviously, that it'd just be the names.
Yo, let me just tell you why. The V trigger, the spear being countered by the V trigger.
Ooh, yeah.
Right there. And the way Roman sells, the way Roman has gotten so much better at selling, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I agree. Kenny versus Roman 5-star match. Kenny versus Seth 10-star match. Yeah. That's a great way to put it, Yobi. Yeah, for sure. And Roman, but like you said, Josh, Roman would sell the hell out of that. So yeah, he doesn't need it, but yeah, for his body's sake and stuff like that, and I guess for just from a perspective of fresh feuds and stuff like that, I wouldn't mind seeing Kenny have a little run before he hangs it up in WWE. It'd be easier on his body. He could probably organise by this point in his career to have a certain structure of, you know, dates, you know, don't have to work house shows or stuff like that, and make the schedule that suits him. I think you'd see him obviously wrestle 10,000 times more than you see Brock Lesnar wrestle, but give himself a lighter schedule, obviously, where, say, he just works, for example, Raw every week and then pay-per-views. But yeah, like, I could see it happening. And again, I think it all comes back to what's going on with CM Punk, because they don't get that shit sorted, and he really needs to not just apologize, and they all need to apologize to each other. But CM Punk needs to stop being stubborn and apologize, and he doesn't need to just apologize to them. I think he needs to come in and apologize to the whole locker room. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work out. You don't want that conflict backstage. And if Tony's smart, which he is in a lot of senses, if I have to choose between the Elite and CM Punk, and again, I've been a CM Punk fan, this CM Punk I'm not really interested in seeing. So I'd be choosing the Elite all day long, because the Bucks can go. Kenny can still go regardless that his body's been through it. And Punk just can't. Punk's still great on the microphone. I'd probably prefer it actually just to see him as a commentator now. But yeah, it's interesting. Like Josh said earlier, Tony seems to have a hard on right now for him, and he's trying everything in his power to do it. But you know what? If he's going to be this difficult and be a bit of a diva by the seams of it, then I'd tear his contract up and show him the door. Yeah, that's what I mean. Needs to be apologies both sides, because it was embarrassing on the locker room. It was embarrassing on the brand, on Tony. And you know what? I think you will find, because I read it somewhere, there's members in the Elite, they just didn't specify whose names. I would suggest, though, and take a guess, Kenny would probably be one of them, because the type of person he comes across as, and I'm talking the person, not the character and what you see, I'm talking about just the genuine person. I think he's one of them that's ready to apologise and put it behind him.
Yeah, I can see Kenny being ready.
Punk's, and possibly one of the young buck, but again, they didn't mention names. They just said that someone on that side's ready to apologise and talk. But apparently Punk's holding it up for one, and lawyers that are involved in the situation are also holding it up, because both sides' lawyers aren't letting or giving each side a chance to get together to hash it out. So it's a real difficult situation right now, but it's a situation that if they're going to keep moving forward as a company and want to have all these names under the one roof, it needs to be sorted. And I don't think court's the way to go. Look, you're big boys. You're adults. You can all man up and admit where you fucked up during this. And stop being stubborn. Apologise to the rest of the locker room then. Apologise to Tony. And it's done. Move on. You don't even have to be the best of friends afterwards, as long as you can just be civil. Because, look, I've seen it on All Access. Ty, Conti, and Ruby, they're not best friends. They don't really like each other. But professionally, they put their shit behind them, and they get along for work purposes and are professional. That's what needs to happen here. And I think it can happen, because Punk, I mean, I don't know about with the man, but he was a big fan, and he was friendly with the Young Bucks, and he was a big fan of them. So, you know, the other thing is I don't understand why he's being so stubborn here, considering we've seen reports come out that he was showing up at WWE events. And
that was hilarious to me. That was hilarious.
Yeah, he finally apologised and hashed out bad blood between him and The Miz, for Christ's sakes. Like, if you're going to go and do that, and you're showing on one side that you're trying to turn a new leaf and be a big boy about it, then you need to do the same here. You need to do
that's funny to me. Miz is like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, Miz would have been like, what? Like, but like, if you're going to do it for one lot of bad blood, then come on. Like, you can do it here. Especially if you want to still be in the wrestling limelight, you know, you can't be involved in a company and not get along with half the fucking locker room. It's just not going to end well. And it's going to create disarray. It's going to create conflict, which then will it'll bleed out into the product, and the product will start going down. And they don't need that. They really don't need that, because the product AEW as is already so scrutinized under a microscope by fans, by the wrestling media. They don't need any more negativity. That's the last thing they need, especially with this massive Wembley show. They need all the positive energy they can. And then this ticket sale bullshit with Punk and all that with Collision, that's not good. So something needs to give here. And if I'm Tony, as I said, if he's going to be hard to work with, he's going to be a diva about things, then cut ties. Because at the end of the day, it's not like this is 20-something-year-old Punk or even 30-something-year-old Punk. This is a 40-year-old broken-down man who has always hated the gym, so it's not like he's going to go and do gym time and get himself back really properly in ring shape. And as we all know, as you get older, it takes longer to heal from injuries and stuff like that too. What happens if he comes back first match, he breaks his leg or something? You know, like, his body just... I think he needs to stop hanging on. Like, you know... we used to say the same thing with Ric Flair. He hanged on too long. Same with Hulk Hogan. Punk just needs to just go, really. Like, you know, if you want to help out, say sorry and that, and then help out and create, that's cool, that's well and good. But, you know, and as I said, it's just hard because at the end of the day, obviously fans still want to see him. He's still obviously got that recognition like Jericho and stuff like that. But the big difference is Jericho's body's holding up on him compared to Punk. So... But, folks, that's all we've got for you this evening. I said the other week this was going to be a big show because we had 3 pay-per-views to get through. So if you're a wrestling fan, I mean, you got had Raw tonight, you got NXT Wednesday, we got AEW on Wednesday, you got with Dynamite, then SmackDown and Rampage before these pay-per-views start, and then you've got, if they're all 3 hours each, 9 hours. 9 hours over the weekend of wrestling action. So I don't think, unless Impact's... I don't know if Impact's pay-per-views this week, but if they're there too, then you might have 12
They
hours.
do.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
there you go.
one.
They got one too. So there you go. You got 12 hours. 12 hours if you like Impact Wrestling as well. Well, 12 hours of wrestling. So it's a wrestling fan's wet dream. So it's going to be fantastic. Obviously Impact to a lesser extent, but I'll be tuning into that just to see Trinity wrestle and see how she goes. But yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. Brother Stage, it was good to see you in here, brother. Of course, Yobi, always blessed to have your presence, man. My wonderful girl, Trinity, and of course everything you do behind the scenes, love, always appreciated. Who else was up in here earlier?
By the way, your Trinity would kick all their asses. We know that. Your Trinity would.
You know what? I keep telling her all the time. She reminds me of Willow Nightingale. Every time I see Willow on the screen, I think of her. They got similar hair and everything. Who else was up in here earlier? Dion, Mr. Too Soon. Always great to see you and talk wrestling with you too, brother. And yeah, little Pharrell was up in here earlier as well. So thank you all for tuning in. Even if you stopped in for 5 minutes or stuck with us the whole show. But Josh, did you want to let the fine folks know, sir, where they can find you?
Follow me on Twitter at JoshuaCounts1. You can follow me on Twitch at RTJosh124. And that's pretty much it, man. I'm ready to go to bed.
It's that time. It's that time.
It is midnight. I gotta work. Actually, no, I do gotta work tomorrow. So yeah, I gotta work a baseball game.
Woo! All right. And Paul, you want to let the fine folks know where they can find you, sir?
Yep, you can find me on Twitter at Cerebral Paul 1, Twitch at Cerebral Paul. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I have moved my Xbox Ambassador show to Tuesday. It's going to be at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, I will be premiering and highlighting the new Star Trek game, Star Trek Resurgence, which is from some of the DNA that was behind the Telltale games. So if you like those kind of games and you like Star Trek, be sure and check it out. So,
Yeah, it's been getting reviewed pretty well from what I've seen. The reviews coming in.
Midland review, mid to high 70s, which is fine for me.
Well, that's what I was kind
not
of
every game
expecting
needs to
for
be
it.
a 90.
Yeah.
Not
No,
every
no.
game needs to be a 90.
No, I was expecting around the
I'm-
70 mark, and that's what I keep seeing.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep,
not a bad game.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So.
And of course, you can find me at SpookyTBG on the Twitters, on every other social media, on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, everywhere, same name. Of course, me and Paul and Charlie Hustle will be back here Wednesday evening for the next episode of the Backlog Bastards. But other than that, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week with the wrestling, enjoys the weekend of Wrestling Fest. We're eating good if you're a wrestling fan. And of course,
Yeah, no kidding.
and of course, we will be right back here, us three boys, next Monday evening to go over the results of all these pay-per-views. So look out for that. Until then, everybody have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you next time. And don't forget, folks, as you can see on the screen, if you can donate in any way, shape, or form, or at the very least, share this out and help a brother out. We've raised $440 so far of the GoFundMe for me and my kids. You can read the story behind everything on the GoFundMe, but any sort of help counts. And anybody that has helped out or shared it out, it's always greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you all, and again, we will see you on Wednesday evening for the next episode of the Backlog Bastards. Good night, everybody.